Five, four,
Four,
three,
three,
two,
two,
one.
one.
You are listening to the Overwatch Rundown, a weekly podcast covering the latest in the esports scene of competitive Overwatch. Today is Tuesday, November 7th, and we are covering the Overwatch World Cup 2017. Jax, no bigger event in the Overwatch World Cup than this one this year. It's, I think, even larger than it was last year. We have a great set of games that we're covering this week. A lot of coverage, obviously. So buckle down, everyone. It's going to be a long one. I can almost guarantee that, Jax.
Hello. So what are you talking about? You said we're gonna be under an hour here.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, listen, we might be able to cover one of the series in an hour, but I mean, ultimately there are about what, 8 series in this, if you include the quarterfinals plus the third
Plus, I'm
to the
focused
finals
on
plus the
two
third.
specific series myself.
I
So
know,
anything
I know.
outside of those two series, we're putting that on you because they were fantastic series. My
Absolutely.
expectations for one of the games were met. For some of the other games, not met at all, especially those involving the team from the United Kingdom. Huge letdown from them. But for Blizzard, I would have to say expectations were met. The viewership was quite high across all the language platforms that they had it streaming on. Good sign for the Overwatch League upload. So hopefully, if they can pick up even, well, I guess they've already been doing like a tenth of. How much do you think that they would have to they would have to get to make Overwatch League successful out of the 300,000 that they had during
Oh,
USA versus South Korea?
that is going to be a hard question about how much can they convert. I mean, we were talking about this a little bit. I said it in the pregame show here on the podcast that I think the World Cups do something very good in terms of viewership, which is you get drawn into teams very easily.
Right.
There's regional, it's your country. Same thing. It follows the pattern of soccer. It's pretty easy to follow there. The World Cup is great for that. When it comes to transferring this into regular esports watchers with the Overwatch League, obviously they're trying to do the regional thing, and I've talked about this before. I don't think it's going to take very well because you're playing
Mm.
all the games in LA, and then you have these teams, which you have pointed out, say like the London Spitfires, are consisting of members mainly from Korea in that case, but usually not from the location or the region that it's representing.
You gotta have
And
a face, like if you take a look at the teams, the traditional sports teams, right? Someone is the face of the team. Who the fans can get behind and rally behind and support. And I look at London. So I mean, London is easy because they're a London team with an all Korean roster, and you look at that and it's like, if I'm from London, how do I mean, one, you're not playing in front of me, so even if I want to go see you, I can't because you're in Los Angeles. Two, when I look at you, and again, I'm just being honest here. When I look at you, I don't, you just don't. How do you connect? Like, the culture, it doesn't match up, and so I think it's a problem that that team specifically is going to have to work out. But not just them, but all the teams. A lot of these teams they have. I'm just going to say, quote unquote, foreigners on them, and for me, from the marketing side of things, I'm really interested in seeing how these teams connect with the people. Um,
yeah, no,
and I don't think it's going to be easy.
I I definitely agree with you, Jax. So I don't think we can expect the same regular viewership for the Overwatch League to meet what
One of our
happened
viewers
during the
in
World Cup.
chat says 40 to 60,000 left plus.
Listen, that would be great for them. I mean, particularly if you can. Actually, that would be acceptable, I think, because if you look at contenders, right, Jax, we said it.
There was up to 30 at one
They
point for
they had 30,
contenders.
but that, if you look at now considering the top tier class across all of the world, and then you include other streams, and they better get 40 to 50K. Like that needs to be like the absolute minimum. And I mean, it may not be a failure, but that would be like a barely a passing grade, I
I
think,
mean,
if they
look,
get that viewership.
I'm looking at one of the first games of the actual regular season come January, Lepelos. We have Dallas versus Seoul, and for me, if that's not 100,000 with two of the best teams in the world, I have some concerns. But again, that would just be the first game. There's plenty of room to grow. But for that particular, matchup between Dallas and Seoul, I could easily see 100,000 people tuning in, depending on the time of day when they have it. I don't have the schedule right here in front of me, but it's just you're talking about the regional viewers that we had. So we had like about 15, 20,000 French viewers. Okay, they won't be there, Lepos. Team France Rogue is no more.
No French
So
team at all
that
either.
team that they could have gotten behind, right? An all French team is not there.
Yeah. And I mean, whether they were hired, like whether Rogue was hired en masse into one other team, or if there was even a French national, or no, I shouldn't say national team, but a French city, say Paris, that was having a team to draw on viewership from there. They don't have any of those things. So yeah, I agree with you, Jax. I don't think their numbers are going to be too high. I agree as well that 100K for the
Dallas versus
premier
Seoul, Lepelos.
premier game coming out. Dallas versus Seoul should be high. If that's low, then Overwatch League's going to be in trouble right out of the gate. And you know what? They have enough money that I think they're going to be able to try and ram it down viewership,
Lepelos, I'm
but
looking
I
at the
don't think
prize
it's going
pool
to
here.
grow.
I'm looking at the prize pool for what they have for Overwatch League compared to the 20 million that they took in from 12 different teams. There's a lot of money that's unaccounted for right now. I'm sure a lot of it will go to marketing. So, I mean, if Blizzard we
Have we seen
trust,
that? Have we seen that marketing come out
I
of the
saw it on the
gates?
Blizzard launcher. Does that count?
I mean, I guess that counts. Does that cost that much money? But how about like the individual teams and their marketing? Like we've seen some great MS Paint skills come out. I'm pretty sure we
Turned into
saw
a bit
some.
of a meme, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure we saw some stock footage used in a couple of ads.
I
Maybe
mean,
not,
I
but
I, I like what the LA Gladiators did. Lepelos, they took some of the players who were already here in the States and in Los Angeles. They took them over to the Coliseum, not too far from where I stay at actually, and they had them, actually in the Coliseum, the football stadium, and they had, they took video footage there, so they put forth some effort there.
yeah,
Um, I still have some concerns about the lion representing the gladiator, considering what lions were in the gladiator times. But
yeah.
we will see. Me personally, I'm trying. So for me and where I stay at in Los Angeles, and who the owner of the gladiators are, yes, the Cronky group, it would be for me to geographically go with them over the Valiant. Um,
Well,
and I'm trying to see if I can get behind the LA Gladiators.
well,
Right now, I'm personally not feeling. I love the purple. I'm a fan of purple, so I do like that color. But we'll see. As for you, Lepelos, there's no Toronto team. There's no Montreal team.
no Vancouver team either. I mean,
Who are you looking at, Lepelos? Toronto
there's
Esports is
no
tier 2 team.
Pacific Northwest team at all. There's not even a Seattle team.
You got San Francisco Shock, the best you can do,
that's
Lepelos.
the close. I mean,
Are you going for San Francisco?
no, I'm not going for San Francisco. I have no idea, what to go with.
We have to have Lepelos pick a team before the preseason starts next month. So hopefully, tweet at him at Lepelos on Twitter. Let him know you want to know who he's going to get behind.
What is
and
the most
support.
Canadian team, Jax? I will have to look into that. I'm sort of
The
sad.
most Canadian?
Yeah, we'll come back around to that on another podcast. Jax, speaking of countries, though, let's go ahead and start discussing here what actually happened this past weekend at the World Cup, because there's definitely some really good games. Didn't start off great though with the first series coming out, Sweden versus UK. You picked UK for this one. I picked Sweden.
Lepelos. I picked UK because a number of the Team UK players did not make it into the Overwatch League. They have something to prove, right? This is the biggest stage of Overwatch we've had so far. And I figured they have something to prove. They also have their national pride on the line. And I figured they had a chance. They had a chance of taking it to Team Sweden. I wasn't sold on Team Sweden's tank lineup. I did forget when I made this pick that Chipsegen is a fantastic Mercy player. Him and Adam used to have their Mercy battles, even though they didn't personally go at it. But they were two of the best Mercies back in the previous Mercy meta in the West. I forgot they had Chipsegen on the team for that. Um, so I guess I should have taken that into account when I made my pick. But starting out here, Leplos, you'd have to say Sweden started out pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they take the series in a quick 3-0, first winning Oasis in 2 rounds. First on University, where Manitin, Graviton Surge, they're coming through at the end, but City Center coming back also their way because probably Chipsgen getting an important res to allow them to hold on for 100 to 88 on that round, just as you were
Mercy
saying.
very important in the current meta, Leplos. Is the most important for me. Maybe not. I have to give it to Tracer still, but Mercy and Tracer are, for me, I guess I could say neck and neck in how important they are to their teams and whether or not the team will succeed.
Yeah, and you know that, and when you have Chips going through, and Snill is a really good tracer too. So between the two of them, Sweden doing really good work here against the UK. UK struggling also on Bonnie. Um, Tavik or UK able to use their dive here effectively to get through A in good time, but they couldn't get enough here on Nimbani to really make the difference, right? Like they couldn't get any defense on their side when Sweden went on attack. I'll put it that
No,
way.
no,
Absolutely no defense. Again, Chipsgen, big important 2 res off of Valkyrie, making the difference for the B point capture there in really good time. But honestly, it was just absolute dominance there. Volskaya, not much of a different story here. Again, no defense coming out of the UK. I'll just skip ahead to Sweden, where good patience out of their side pays off for a quick A attack, and they quickly turn that to pressure onto the B point, which allows them to basically take it in all of 2 fights. Jax.
massive letdown for me, Lepelos from Team UK. The DPS, everybody talked about Mikey A being such a land specialist. Lepelos Cruz, he's been very vocal about his Overwatch League struggles. Cruz was one specific player I expected to shine here. Genji's still very viable. He even says he's not, just a Genji one trick. But even his Genji Lepelos was not up to par here. The synergy from Team UK reminded me a lot of E United Lepelos. It wasn't really there. Boombox, the magic, not really there. I'm hoping Boombox on his new team in Overwatch League Lepelos will, reignite that spark that we saw in him. Boombox was, I think we said at one time, he was one of the best poaches that we've seen so far in professional Overwatch when E United picked him up. I forget which team he was playing for at the time, but it was a massive blow to that team to lose him.
Was it 1-2-3? I think he was on, right? Is that correct? If I remember.
Well, I don't think it was 1-2-3. I think the team he was on disbanded because they just got poached like 2 or 3 times, and the team. Oh my goodness! I have seen. Now you're gonna make me go back and look at contenders from season 0.
No, but yeah, he definitely had a huge hot streak, but he had been quiet for a while in contenders. There's no doubt about that. Here, though, he wasn't the difference maker, Jax. I mean, I wouldn't say he was an issue. I just don't
Cyclones,
think
by the way.
Cyclones. Yeah, okay, there we go. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
He wasn't the issue with Team UK. It was just Team UK didn't look like they had their stuff together.
Team UK in the qualifiers, they came out. They were explosive, right? Like the teams who fought them, they just didn't know how to deal with the pressure that was being thrown at them. And here, I just didn't see it. Like Sweden looked like, okay, we're fine. This first game, bit of a warm up here. We're looking forward to our next opponent, and I guess their next opponent, Lepelos, would be the winner of Canada, your team, versus Australia.
And Jax, this one, I know we're not going to focus on it, but it was a good game to watch for sure.
Yes,
it was quite a close series.
So, Team Australia, basically blank esports. This is the original blank Lepelos, not the blank we saw in season 2. They got back 2 of their players who took off OPC season 2, and for me, it left me after watching this series. I'm saying to myself, I wish they had not taken off from OPC Season 2. I would have liked to have seen this lineup go up against Flash Wolves, go up against Artie and Lepelos, because they look like a completely different team.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, particularly getting Atar back. I mean,
Yeah,
Kiki was satisfactory, I would say, in
decent
his
off tank.
performance. Listen,
Decent off tank.
Australia played really well, so I'm not going to say like Kiki didn't play bad. I'm saying he was what you need to have to good, so not outstanding, but solid. Um, Australia starting off pretty strong though, Jax here. Oasis, they're able to take that one in 3 rounds
Yep.
with some really close fights. I do have to mention though, Canada here on the city center getting off point, Jax, when they want to fight, because that gave the round to Australia.
I mean, Lepelos, you have, looking at Team Canada here, you have 2 former members of Cloud9, no surprise there. You have Agilities from Immortals, Lepelos. How many times did they do that in Season 1 of Contenders? Like, they literally forgot that they're playing the objective here. So you have 3 players who on their own personal teams, they have a little trouble playing the objective, Lepelos. It's no surprise to me. What did surprise me, though, I mean, again, I say surprise because I didn't know what to expect from Australia. The last time we saw this team was 3 months ago, Lepelos. That was what? This is August and July. This was 2 to 3 metas ago. I did not know what to expect from Team Australia. After this map, I said to myself, I don't know if I said it to you at the time, but I was like, Canada might be in trouble here because Australia is playing very well.
That sort of holds true on Kings Row, Jax. Let's talk about that one. For Canada attack, they're actually held pretty well both in the second phase and in the third phase. But there is a moment you have to talk about here in the Canadian attack, and that is going into OT in the third phase in the Foundry. Jax, huge play coming out of the Mercy player for Team Canada. That's Joe Meister here, getting that Valk off in time to raise XQC, heal him, and Wolf then building the Transcendence to save XQC as Canada clean up off that.
Joe Meister's a
For
Lucio player.
the miracle push. Like, you cannot, you got to go back and watch that one if you haven't seen the series. That play is absolutely incredible that Canada clutched that out. Australia not fighting the closure.
This is what we talked about in the last few finals that we covered, the grand finals of the tournaments that we cover. These championship teams, specifically GC Busan, finding a way to close out maps, finding a way to prevent their opponent from closing out the map. Here, I was a little concerned. I was like, Australia, what you got? What you got? They gave it up, right? They tried. It was a really solid defense, as you said, over the second point and third point, Lepelos. And on Australia's attack, well, they said, okay, we want to win. We got this.
Absolutely. I mean, Canada looked as bad as the UK, honestly, on defense here. Very quick for Australia to get through. Managed to get their second attack while Canada had no time. So they didn't even get a second attack. Mega 2 tries to bring out the Torp here. It doesn't really work for them. Australia beating them out. Jax, I did want to mention one thing before we talk about Hanamura, which is when I was talking about that fight, Jax, I want to point out all the people I mentioned were not DPS players, right? Not Mangachu, who is Flex, not Sure4, not Agilities. This is the importance of having a great tank and support line. Really makes a difference for your team. I know everyone seems to be focused on DPS, but what a fight!
Hey, Lepelos, if you're talking to me about supports, Joe Meister on FaZe, fantastic support player. From what we see, in the reports, a fantastic team leader, shot caller. Rolf has always been one of the best supports in North America. I remember going back to E-League when he was on, I want to say, was it Method? I believe it was Method, where they went up and beat Cloud9. And Rolf was a big part of that. And you know what happened after that in E-League? Cloud9 says, okay, we're going to go and poach Rolf because we don't want to die to his Zenyatta orbs like that anymore and his Ana sleeps and things of that nature. Rolf, sadly, Lepelos, not in Overwatch League. Well, I guess we'll get into that later on here. But it's no surprise to me that, team in that push, Team Canada, Lepelos, I think the biggest question for me was that flex position with Mangachu, because Mangachu is more of a DPS flex, not really his off tank skills. We'll see.
Yeah,
especially
we'll
going, Hanamura and
Canada needing the win on Hanamura.
Here, Lepelos.
Yeah, Canada needs to reverse sweep here to try and keep going on. Hanamura Jax ends up going quite long. Both teams getting into second attack. Jax, the major difference between the two being Canada having 3 minutes 46 seconds after their first attack, Australia only a minute 20. In their second attacks, Australia able to get onto B point, but no time really on B point.
Yeah.
Canada again allows
Canada
for a
ran them
quick
over
A
the post.
time, and then Res coming through again, zoning self destruct there by Mangachu coming through, as they're able to make that pretty easy there. So
Almost 3 minutes left in
coming
the time
alive.
bank levels when they cap it out. So solid. I mean, for me, like I said, I was watching this and I was saying Canada might not even make it out of the quarterfinals here. And I think you and I both had Canada making it through here. I think you had Canada going quite far in the tournament. So I know you were a little nervous about your hometown team, Lepelos. And from Hanamura, Australia take us to Junkertown. I haven't seen a lot of Junkertown in the process. We've seen some, right? But
Yeah.
it's still
No,
the
it's
newest
still
map.
new,
So,
yeah.
this was an interesting watch. And
It's
for
actually a map
Canada,
that came out pretty often, and it's getting some interesting compositions coming out. On this one, Australia. Listen, they did make A pretty easily after they broke the spawn camp on first. Australia also able to get through the B point pretty good here. Canada finally able to set up a hold barely with agilities coming alive with a great Dragon Blade there to shut down the last
I mean,
push.
Lepo's agilities was a
And
meme in season 1 contenders. People were saying his Dragon Blades were bad, his Genji was bad, and here you're telling me agilities putting in work.
yeah, he had two great Dragon Blades in the final section that allowed Canada to make a hold here. Canada breaking out what is now being called the pirate ship strategy here on their attack jacks, and it worked very effectively here. I'll just say the
So
bashing
we
getting
go from Protect the President to Pirate Ship Lepolos.
well when you're on the high seas, I guess, Jackson.
Oh my
But
goodness, Lepolos. Okay.
of Canada. But okay, here the tank mode 3.5 kills if you include that mech as a half kill there for a quick A point capture. They keep on rolling. Although Canada almost stopped there in the second section until Surefour lands a key 2-kill pulse bomb there. Huge. Australia doing their best to try and hold on, but not enough there. Able to take that map for Canada and force a game 5. Jax, reverse sweep is a possibility here.
Levels, we're 4 maps in now on this matchup. Is sure for meeting your expectations? I know they were rather low here. You had some concerns about Surefour and where he was at, since we haven't seen him play
Yep.
since season 0, and his season 0 of contenders was not even season 0. Sorry, the qualification for season 0, and even then his play wasn't the best.
So here I think he's definitely performing well, but it's also inconsistent, right? Like he's popping up sometimes, but it's playing off of agility. Honestly, it's playing off of agility as well, who's also known to be a little bit inconsistent with getting value. Like sometimes it's sort of binary. It's like he either has a great Dragon Blade or he has nothing, right? And Surefour is sort of finding the same, and it's like one of them seems to be popping off, and that's great when you have two great DPS like that. When you put one of these players with another DPS that is just maybe solid or doesn't get streaky, then you may not get the same amount of flash or situation. So I think it's paying off for Team Canada overall. Jax, let's talk about Nepal. This one actually ends up going pretty quickly to the side of Canada, starting first off on Village. They're able to get
Aussies ran out of gas levels.
I mean,
Let's just jump to
Farah
the
coming
end here.
through here on the side of Team Canada, particularly on the Village Point Sanctum. On the other hand, Junkrat with the XQC on the Orisa doing really great work here. 100-0 on that map. Jax, reverse sweep was real. I'm 2 for 2 on picks right now. I'm feeling good. At that point.
I liked what I saw out of Team Australia Lepos. I wish I would love for this team to stick together.
So
I don't know if the two P I don't know, are they gonna come back for OPC season 3? I hope so.
I don't know the details of why
I
Atar
like Australia. It's hard to not like Team Australia Lepos.
honestly, Atar with Huwu would be a great team. Huwu being
Are you kicking Kiki out, Lepolos?
I am because I've seen Huwu land so many self-destruct. No, but
it's random, dude.
no, I agree.
You trying
But
to tell me these are planned self-destruct kills by who? Ooh,
Listen,
Lepelos, it's random.
when you can do it more consistently than other divas can do it, then you've got something. I
Le-
know you're not. It's not something you're going to bank on, but the fact that it happens shows that there's an awareness that he has that
Lepelos,
maybe
back
other
in the
divas
day,
don't have.
Hyped from Immortals was one of the best at that. So many self-destruct kills for Hyped. And then what happened? Season 1 contenders, Hyped nowhere to be found. He plays, what, half a game one time, and then he's benched again, and now he's kicked off.
Well, they
It's
wanted.
random, Lepelos.
Well,
You
we don't know
cannot
all the
put stock
situation
in
behind it,
that.
but I'm not putting
Ugh.
stock in that alone. He's being a strong diva
He is.
player, so
Right.
yeah, and I would argue probably better than Kiki, but Atar definitely would want to see him back.
It was good to see Atar back. It's the DPS. The last 3 months has been so important, and it was kind of missing from Blank, and they just could not match up with the guns of Ardian. Here, they started out well, Leplos, and Canada got woke. It says we don't want to go out here, and they couldn't hang.
Jax,
Congrats to Australia though.
yeah, really great.
Entertaining match.
I'm definitely glad to see like the performance they put up. I'm also glad to see Canada clutch it out. Let's go ahead and move on to next series in the lower bracket. World Cup 2017, of course, none other than France and China taking on one another. Jax, this is a game we talked about wanting to see when they were there in person.
I wish Lepelos. One of the reasons why I wanted, this is not the same
Shanghai?
team. Team China Lepelos. Many visa issues. They had to replace half the team a week before the World Cup even starts. And I coming into this, I didn't know what to expect. I kind of know what to expect from Rogue, or from France, I should say. But from Team China, I know how much synergy can they build in a week. I mean, yes, they're all from the same country, so the culture, the language is the same, but teams play differently. And here, you're mixing 3 different teams here, and I guess to say it starts out well. That's something, right?
Well, sort of well. I mean, there's concerns on both sides here, Jax. I'll say starting out on Nepal here between France and China. France getting a quick 100-0 there on Sanctum with their Junkrat play, which immediately tells me. I mean, listen, Canada did that on Nepal just previously when we were talking about Canada, Australia. Here, though, when you're starting off a series losing 100-0 to a Junkrat,
those teams are not meeting the Junkrat check.
You're not meeting the
Junkrat
Junkrat.
Quite strong right now.
It is, and it's also concerning for Team China right off the bat. Oh, that's okay though. Team China coming back, secure the first map here on Nepal. That's concerning for France. You can't get that quick 100-0 here and feel like you're the stronger team and then give up the map.
I remember watching this Nepal Lepelos, and I think I said to you, maybe I don't know if it was during this live, but later on I went and looked up because I'm saying to myself, why is Eileen not in the Overwatch League?
So,
it made no sense to me, Lepelos. And then I go and I look, so I'm like, what could possibly keep him out of the Overwatch League as well as he's playing here and has played for LGD and for the Team China previously? He doesn't turn 18 until September of next year, Lepelos.
Yeah.
That's come way after season 1 is over and done with by the time he turns 18, so he can't even play.
It's almost like we need a under 18s
Lepelos,
tournament. Anyways,
Eileen, Flower, who are you, Lepelos? These are 3 world-class DPS players
that have to wait.
who won't be in season 1 of Overwatch.
I have mixed feelings though about getting 2 young players into a professional sports league, but that's commentary for another time.
They have parents. They have guardians.
I mean, parents will abuse. I mean, you live in LA, Jax. You know about child labor laws. I'm sure there for all the child actors.
Going deep here. Child labor laws. It's Overwatch, dude. They've let them play so far, right? They played in Korea. They played in the respective leagues in their own countries here. I mean, Sinatra's mom signed off on him. She accompanied him to.
I agree that
events,
that there should be some consideration for a parent, but like, how young is too young then, Jax? Like, is 17 too young? 16, 15, 14? Like, do you get where do you draw the line? Okay, we're not getting into this, Jax. We're talking about
you have trouble mixing some of these age groups now. I'm at 14. I mean,
I agree
some of the
with
17-year-olds have
but you have
here.
You have to draw a line somewhere, Jax, and this is where
they're drawing
it
at 18. That's fine. That's what Blizzard did.
That's what
they
did.
At 18.
Yeah, and I you can argue about it. It's a shame that these players. Yes, it is a shame, and if they're gonna do it, then they should have an under 18 tournament for the Worlds and everything else. Anyways, Jax, we got to get back here onto discussing France and China.
Drawing a line, Lepelos. France drew a line.
Yeah, from here on,
and said, "You go no farther." That's what they said. Although they said in their French accents, which I don't have.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna try
You're the
that.
Frenchman here,
Toasty,
Lepolos.
if you wanna give your French accent in chat, that would be
You have
great.
French, Lepolos. You have French roots.
I do have a French background, although I wouldn't say I speak French or speak it in an accent or speak English with a French accent. I would not dare to do that here. If you find me in person, I will do it, but not on the podcast, Jax. We're talking about Nabani here. This one actually goes quite a long time here. Pretty close fight between both sides. Importantly, France here on attack, not able to close out before 53 seconds.
Yeah.
Meaning when China caps out in OT, they have a second chance of attack. Not able to do much though on that second attack. France is holding out. This France team, getting it done as Rogue did previously, getting it done when they need to. Coming out on attack soon with the flanking ninja cap here, Jax. I like the objective play. I like
Play
that
the
awareness.
objective,
Yeah.
Lepolos. Yes, killing is important, but when they give it to you, when you can literally sneak it in without having to fight, you take it. Fight smarter, not harder, Lepolos. Congrats, Team France. Move on to map 3, Hanamura.
Hanamura, I mean, this one is a
Thump,
pretty quick one. France
thump.
France just stomped them on their B point defense. Bit hopeful for Eileen for Junkrat on that A point defense, but not really doing anything. France able to take that A, take that B third quite quickly. They're up 2 maps. Junkertown, Jax. Another
This
map
was a
that
long
goes.
one.
This was a
This
long
was a
one,
long
and
one.
it was interesting.
Rogue likes having these long series.
They
Lepolos.
do. I mean, none of. Listen, it's still from the qualifiers. One of my favorite games is
Best
the
maps,
against Denmark. Yeah, one of the best maps was France versus Denmark, where that one ended up in a 8-7 or something like that.
8 on Hollywood.
On
I
Hollywood.
mean, it was
Such a
still
such a
people
great
go
one.
back and watch it.
Jax, I think when we come to the end of the year, we probably should do our go through our list of what have been our favorite games of the year, like top 10 or something like that. Anyways, that's not here. Here we're talking about Junkertown and China. That Bastion coming out here with the 2-3-1 setup, getting through all 3 points, absolutely crushing the French team. They look like they've never seen this strategy even on ladder, Jax. France just absolutely dominated by China here on their
I mean, look,
first
a lot of
defense.
people have not had, a lot of professional practice on junk. I'm pretty sure, maybe they had a little bit, but not a lot here. I was impressed by Team China. I was concerned after, they came out strong on Nepal. I was like, okay. Then Nambani, a little iffy, and Hanamura, very iffy. I was concerned that they were done mentally. A rather young team, as not just Eileen, but the team in general, rather young Leplos. I was concerned that they just weren't ready for the pressure that was coming down on them. I mean, representing your country is never an easy thing to do here, and the performance of Hanamura was just bad, and I was worried. And
Yeah.
then they come out with this Bastion, and Rogue is like, "How do you beat Bastion?" And Rogue never figured it out. Leplos.
I mean, China on their defense decided the way to beat Bastion is to bring Bastion out yourself here.
Yeah.
Eileen switching to the Bastion here on defense sort of works out for them. He even gets like 3 kills in the final phase, forces France to only capture in OT and Jax. I need to mention OT on a payload map still means, despite the three, what 2 minutes? I can't remember the time that China had.
Yeah.
But they had a significant time back. It doesn't really matter. You still get a minute.
You get a minute.
And France goes on that second attack here, Jax. And
Throw.
Bastion Widow coming out of the side of China.
Throw.
All right, so give up
Go
that
ahead.
A point. We're just going to say give up that A point, and they never really recovered from there.
Lepolos throw. I keep repeating myself. I don't.
China
I'll give you the
does their
Bastion.
best. Like China tries to do their
Lepolos, I'll
best
give
on
you
their
the
attack.
Bastion. What is
but
the Widow doing? We just
I
talked
don't
about
know.
the Widow's trap, Lepolos, last week.
We're
We
going
had
to
a
be talking
clear-
about it
We had
again.
a beautiful
the
video
time.
of it. A
It's
perfect
gonna happen more.
illustration of it, Lepolos. And what are they doing,
It's
man?
going to happen more and more, particularly with the buff to the grappling hook, which I absolutely love. I thought that was a great addition.
Someone later
but-
on, Lepolos makes fantastic use of grappling hook.
We'll
But
talk
in this
about it.
situation, the problem that I have is that enemy team has 1 minute. All you have to do is stop them. Just play the clock, right? For me, Widowmaker is not playing the clock. For Widowmaker, for me, is if the positions were reversed here, and you needed, the time was so it's very high risk Lepelos, and I don't
Yeah,
understand them taking this high risk approach when they had the advantage. There's no need for it. I'm
I
still
absolutely
wondering
agree.
why do this? And they gave up the momentum Lepelos, and Rogue just rolled the payload all the way to the end of the map in 1 minute. You can't come up with a stop in 1 minute, Lepelos, over 3 points.
Yeah, no, it's pretty
Come
disappointing there.
on.
That's where this map was lost. I mean, China going on attack. I just want to mention their attack here. Leave doing great work on a tracer throughout their attack, but still not enough because France able to hold on. I believe it was in the third phase here that they finally hold on here in OT to get the victory. But
Lepelos, it's
China
match
should have had that
point
map.
against you. You have the match point against you. You have the advantage. You know the last time I saw a throw this bad, Lepelos? I want to take you back to season one. OPS. You know who was in that season one OPS final, Lepelos? LGD Gaming versus 1246. Game 7 in a best of 7 on Volskaya B point, Lepelos.
Oh
LGD
man.
comes out with Torbjorn, shocking the entire world, and they give it up. This is just as bad, only it's on a bigger stage in front of more
So
people.
that sounds almost like an advertisement for San Francisco Shock there. Let's hope.
Oof.
Hopefully, that's not what San
Oof.
Francisco Shock will be bringing out. But here, though, the Widowmaker with a Bastion strategy,
It's a throw!
definitely a throw. Would our throw of the World Cup, Jacks? I think we have to call
Quite
it.
possibly. Quite possibly throw the World Cup Lepelos. For me, again, I would. Here's the deal. If I could see this series here played, say 2 weeks from now, 2 to 3 weeks from now, with Team China having the time to play together, I think it would be
A different story.
very
I think so
interesting,
because
Lepelos.
they almost had
Very
that. They
interesting
almost had that
series.
map. First off, if they played that map differently on their second attack, I think they or second defense, I think they would have had this map, and it would be
Yeah.
Gate 5. So we have no idea, but it's a throw. So
I mean,
this is
I'm,
what
I'm
happened.
just I'm just looking at the quality of players that they have here. Zufan Yun Jun has come out as one of my favorite support players out of China. Leave and Eileen, you already know I love those players. Yao Yao, I can't really criticize him. Lepelos, it's really unfortunate that this team had to come together in such a short notice.
Yeah.
The potential here and going forward, the potential for Chinese Overwatch, um, is very interesting and could be quite good. They have some players here, Lepelos. We'll see how the poaching goes because I'm almost certain Team Shanghai, they're not done picking up players. Maybe they are, or at least for now, I guess the signing deadline has passed. But come mid season next whenever the mid season is in next year, it's gonna be interesting. Keep an eye on Team China. Is basically what I'm saying. They have some good talent here.
For sure. Jax, that brings us to the other matchup in the lower bracket here. I know you want to talk about this one for some reason. I don't know
For
why you'd
some
want to talk
reason,
about
he
this
says.
one.
Lepos, I want to talk about it because this is quite possibly the best game or series of Overwatch I have ever seen. I think
That's
part
saying
of it,
something. We've had
you
some
know,
really great series
this is
recently.
one of the first times that there's the story adds to it, right? Where the hype around this match adds to what you're watching here. Because I remember watching it live and then I watched it again for, take notes and VODs and things, and the hype was lessened quite a bit. But when I watched this live, I was enthralled, and I can only imagine what one of our viewers here, he was actually in the arena watching it there. So I can only imagine what it was like live there. But what a series, Lepelos. I mean, we might as well get into this right now.
We're talking none other because we actually didn't say who it was, Jax, here between the U.S. and South Korea. All this build up. I mean, we're not trying to hype it here. Because we're just talking about it. But it was a great series, Jax, and I just want to take a moment first before we talk about the series and just mention you say it might be the greatest series that you've seen. You gotta look back over this last month and a half over some of the great series we've had. We had the Runaway GC Busan Grand Final
Yeah.
for OGN was great.
Runaway versus Lunatic High Season 2 OGN Finals.
Was great.
Game
Or that
7,
was many
yeah.
months ago. But we've had two other
Year.
great series. The other major one over the last month or so, my youngsters or Miraculous Youngsters, sorry, versus Lunatic High.
That was good.
That was an incredible series. And
But
now we have
Levelos,
another one.
it didn't have the magic of this one here, man.
No, this is
The
something different.
hype was so big for this Team USA Levelos. You talk about teams preparing, right? They went, they got hooked up with Nvidia a week before. They flew themselves out to the Nvidia headquarters where Nvidia put them up. Levelos gave them a place to boot camp, work on that teamwork with Coach Kai Kai of the Dallas Fuel. He's also on the Team USA, national committee. So
And
it's
of
just
course, it's
coming
being
into this
held
level.
in U.S. as well. I mean,
Yeah.
home field advantage here. I mean, listen, are they ever going to hold the World Cups anywhere else? I doubt it. So U.S. will always have
Mm,
the World Cup advantage. I mean, it's going to have to grow before I think they would consider.
would they do it in Shanghai? I
I
mean, personally, I
I
would
don't
love to
think
see
so.
it in Australia because out of all the venues that they went to for the qualifiers,
Yeah, Australia was
the
an
one in
amazing
Sydney
crowd.
was fantastic. Was it Sydney?
I believe so. Yes.
The one in Australia was fantastic. Like it wasn't even that big levels. They just had the energy and it was fun to watch. And this is, it makes you like Team Australia even more. But here we are, Lepelos, USA versus South Korea, final game of the quarterfinals. Number one team in the world versus what people are saying is the number two team right now in Team USA Lepelos. They were screaming a number of Overwatch League teams and beating them. And let's start out on Nepal.
Nepal starting with a shrine the first round here. South Korea starting off strong here. Off the first fight, USA able to retake it. Something we're going to talk about often here. Adam with Valkyrie coming through for them in order to allow the US to hold on pretty strong after the retake, earning the quick 100, or I shouldn't even say quick, but it was 179 here for the USA side to start off the first round. Brings
It
us
was
in.
interesting. Team USA Lepelos running the Mercy. Team South Korea running the Ana Lucio old school with a Reaper. I was looking at this and I'm saying, South Korea, what meta are you playing in right now? Lucio Ana Reaper Lepelos. It's going back to Beyblade, man.
Yeah,
Uh, like
definitely questionable. And
10 months ago.
you want to talk about questionable jacks? South Korea Village coming out with Bastion No Mercy here.
Malepolos, again, when I asked you what meta are they playing, back in the day, Bastion was meta
Not
for some
without
teams on
Mercy.
Village.
Not without Mercy. You'd still want a Mercy for the boost
For the
and the
revive
revive.
and the damage boost and the
And
heals here, but
and now the revive is that much stronger with the Bastion, which is probably why you're
Malepolos.
seeing Bastion again finally. By the
Team
way,
USA
but
didn't meet the Bastion
they
check.
didn't. They
100-0
got
South
yeah
Korea.
very quick here to secure this one. Pushes us onto the Sanctum and Jax. This one going sort of the other way. I mean, we're seeing Orisa out of both sides here. Flower on that Junkrat, but Jake on that Soldier 76 sort of making a pretty big difference. The fact of fiction also. His Orisa here really on point.
Malepolos, people have rarely criticized Factor Fiction for his play. He's been one of the best tanks in the West in North America. Sadly, Factor Fiction, as far as I'm aware, Malepolos not on an Overwatch League team. For me here, it was basically Team South Korea not adapting to the Mercy meta very well. Toby swapped off Lucio to go Mercy. Ryuji Hung still running the Analepolos. Sinatra, I feel, had his best map of the round here on Sanctum. Yes, they took the first map. I feel Sabobi outplayed him on the first one. Second map was all South Korea. Third map, Sinatra was like, okay, I need to show people biggest stage. I'm worth 150,000. I've got to make it known. And he stepped up somewhat here. First map, Lepelos, South Korea. I'm sorry, USA.
Yeah, and Korea takes us to Eichenwald for the second map. They have to go on attack first. And Jack's great hold on A point here, starting out for the USA side. Coolmat, I want to say, doing really good diva work here off the start.
Yep.
Off the start. On the flip side, Flower, his Pharah not looking very good, looking a little flat to be honest.
I was, I was a little concerned for Team USA to start when I saw the fair come out because they were running Junkrat Tracer. Not the greatest to deal with a fair flying Junkrat. Can fly himself now with a double concussion mine. But you saw Flower taking the flanking route, Lepelos, and didn't really get much of it. It was a sub 30-second cap for South Korea when they finally got it. Left them with about 3 minutes to push the second point.
Second
In the
point,
second phase, yeah.
I just want to mention a couple things in the second point. Second point, USA sort of not engaging on the cart and getting a little bit messy in their fights. And moreover, Sibolbi there getting a good, important pulse bomb pick on Adam, the Mercy
Yep.
player here.
Sabobi getting
Quick.
postponed on to Adam. Flower gets Raucus Lepelos. have in my notes all South Korea in the second phase, left them
Yeah,
with about 2
absolutely.
minutes and 45 seconds to push the distance.
Yeah, and
Um,
in that third here, USA able to get some pretty good holds up front, but it's really when Toby getting that two res off of his Valkyrie, things turn around there for South Korea.
I do want to
USA
point out,
not
yeah.
really clearing Toby ends up being sort of costly on
I
their
mean,
return of their
it's
defense,
like
and
back
they
in the
push
day,
the cap.
Lepelos, we used to play. Where's Adam, right? Where's Toby? Here you have Sinatra with the Graviton Surge. For me personally, I don't Graviton without Mercy in this situation. If I don't have Mercy in my sights, I don't use the Graviton. I just don't. Because she's going to come in and undo everything that you did here. He gets the grab, they get the 2K, okay, so the Graviton is gone. You don't have that impactful ultimate anymore, and what you got from it has just been undone. From there, now some people, Justice Emerson was pointing out how Ryu Jae Hung Lepelos, his teamwork with Toby is well documented, right? So he used the Transcendence to make sure that Toby could get in and revive without too much trouble.
Yeah,
So they get in,
that
Flower
is
off of Revive Leplos because he died throwing the payload off of Revive, 2K Dragon Blade. South Korea rides that momentum into overtime and into capping it out Leplos. I do want to point out at one point in this second, between second and third stages here, Sobobi had a 20-player kill streak.
I mean, Sabol was all going off in this
Leplos
series.
20-player kill streak right now.
We'll definitely keep on talking about it.
Okay.
USA having
Overtime
to go.
cap, they made it.
They did make it.
The reason I point out that, we talk about it, what happened? Champions will find a way to get it done.
Well, USA having to show their own medal here, Jack. They need to make it through then.
Okay.
Starts off pretty well with them. Well, after a fight, I believe it's Jake coming through with the Riptide Root to get Toby on that Mercy, which gives that Valkyrie advantage there on that A point capture for USA.
Toby for me here, I'm so used to Toby being in the right position when he plays Lucio here, Lepelos. Very questionable. He's on Mercy right now. Very questionable positioning. Cost him his life as Jake just bombs him to death with the Junkrat. Jake having far too much space to just spam grenades and concussion mines, and they capped with 2 minutes in the bank and had 4.5 minutes to push the second point, so they're already ahead of where South Korea was at this point in the match.
Yeah, and their B point push here pretty good. I mean, it gets held up a little bit with Mano having a great engage that clears up Adam, but Flower getting nothing on his tac visor there at one point. Sort of a misstep from him that is uncharacteristic.
I will say that in the second phase is where South Korea made up for it, Lepelos. I talked about the time differences where going into the second phase, Team USA had more time than South Korea. When they got through the second point, when Team USA got through the second point, they had 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. That was about the same time that South Korea had when they got through the second point. So whereas South Korea on their second point attack Lepelos, they breezed right through, Team USA was not able to. But thankfully, they had the buffer from the first point. Things are now even where we go into the final phase, I should say.
Yeah, Jake in the third phase getting some good work on the Junkrat to allow them to push in there. South Korea, though, holding out, particularly after they make the first hold that they need. They're able to push back out to the doorway. Flower, great work on Junkrat here. Finding kills I shouldn't say you shouldn't find on Junkrat, but listen, they happen. Bombs are bouncing everywhere. Flower getting a couple of lucky bounces here. And South Korea holding out here, Jax. They take that map too. We're on to
Lepelos.
Hanamura.
Before we jump into Hanamura here, I got a quick analysis. Not really quick. You know me, I'm never quick. Jake here, Lepelos, 1 minute and 45 seconds left. He gets Sabobi and Toby. He also gets Flower later on. Adam with the revive gets up Sinatra and Raucus. Raucus goes down again. Raucus had already used Transcendence in that fight, didn't really get anything from it. Payload was stopped a few meters short. That was very critical for them. Sinatra, though, Lepelos, is who I want to take a look at. He's got to produce in this situation. It's a cleanup fight. A few meters from the end, that is where Tracer shines. It's a very hectic fight. You can blink around. You get into these positions where you're picking off people who are low on health and trying to hide and trying to get away. He does none of that, Lepelos. Over the course of that fight, the key fight, that if everybody goes back and take a look at it, Jake got 4 kills, Lepelos. Sinatra got 0. Sobobi, if you go back and watch it, Sobobi is all over him. I went back, I watched it. Sinatra was effectively running away from Sabobi at one point, Lepelos, while the rest of Team USA is fighting where they need him in the fight. I get it. He's under immense pressure here, and Sabobi is playing it well, denying him where he wants to be. From there, Lepelos, Sinatra had pulse bomb with a minute and 24 seconds left in the fight. He doesn't use it until overtime. A minute and 24 seconds with a Tracer holding on to pulse bomb. He died 4 times. I say again, Lepelos, 4 deaths in 70 seconds without getting a single kill in return.
This is not what you want for your second
I'm sorry,
DPS number,
Lepelos. I'm
performing
sorry.
the level
Team
that you
USA,
expect out of him.
they had that great push to get it a couple meters away. They got held up. They could never get back through the door, Lepelos. The Junkrat spam from
Yeah, so
Flower
good.
was on point, as you pointed out. Team USA, for me, a little bit of a mini throw here, Lepelos. The reason I'm bringing this up and focusing on this, I talked to you again about champions closing out maps, Lepelos. What did Team South Korea do in this situation? Going into overtime, going to that final fight,
Yeah.
everyone played their part. Toby, Ryu Jae-hung, their positioning was on point. Ultimates were on point. Flower gets to revive, made great use of the Dragon Blade. Here, Team South Korea pushed it in overtime. Team USA unable to do it. Map 3 Hanamura.
Yeah, we're moving on to Hanamura here. USA starting off very strongly on their attack here. Finally, getting a good read of the South Korean Orisa defense that comes out. They get Jake switching over to the Junkrat. Pays off in dividends for a quick A capture. Sinatra actually coming alive here a little bit on B point as USA managed to snowball that first attack on
Fantastic.
B point for a 5 minute and 31 time. That is what you want to see coming out of the side of USA.
Fantastic.
Not even dropping a beat from their previous loss on Eichenwald. South Korea on the flip side, Jax, you talk about Widowmaker and you talk about the Widow's Trap. Flower bringing out the Widowmaker here. How do you feel about this?
I meant to do this. I have to go back. I'm gonna have to go back and put a link up to this because it's not fair. I last week I pointed out somebody falling into the Widow's Trap. I now have to show the opposite. Just to be completely honest, I don't want to because it's gonna lead to more people thinking. But previously, like, okay, Taimu did it. If Taimu can do it, I can do it. Now, if Flower did it, Flower's a 17-year-old kid. If Flower can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
No, you can't. Flower, Lepelos,
Something special.
this is gross. Okay, this is. I think Hex, it was ZP and Hex calling it, which I loved. Some people were on them for the USA bias. Whatever. I think Hex said Widowmaker is one of the most demoralizing heroes to get snowballed against Lepelos. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, you definitely feel like it's a little outside of your control once it gets going. And here, Flower is on fire. Only on the same level of Taimu have we seen a Widowmaker go on.
Lepelos, I have here in my notes disgusting headshots from Flower. Taimu might have a challenger. Kefri might have to up his milligram dosage to contend with him.
Yeah, no, that is true. South Korea able to get that A point really quickly. Flower going off though again on that B point, on the second fight on B point. Particularly getting Adam first. I mean, that's what you want. You know, your Widowmaker getting the Mercy pick off to start a fight. That's perfect if you're running a Widowmaker. Here it pays off. 4 minutes for the South Korean side.
Props
Jax.
to Mano here, Lepelos. Yes, Flower will get all the credit for the flashy play. Mano's Winston on point. Primal Rage on point. Completely denied. He controlled it so that they couldn't really get at Flower. Jake switched to Genji, got to Flower one time only. Lepelos. He gets revived or he gets back off spawn. Continues to what he's doing. Solid attack from Team South Korea. Not as good as Team USA, but solid. Lepelos. South Korea goes on their second attack now with 4 minutes in the bank.
Yeah, 4 minutes on the time here for South Korea. USA. Listen, Jax, they adjusted well. I actually really like this. They played the sight lines a lot better, finding a good hold on that A point against South Korea. South Korea, on the flip side, were patient and methodical in their pushes in, but they didn't find enough ult value against USA in their earlier fights to get a quick capture on the A point. But
I was glad that Flower did not fall completely into the trap. Lepelos. They had 4 minutes. Around the 2 minute mark, he switched off Widow, went Genji. He gave it up. He tried. I think he might have tried it maybe a little too long. For me, if Widow's not working in the first minute, I switch. Well, not me because I don't play Widow. I'm terrible, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, here
South Korea listen. It ends up breaking down after Flowers switches over to Genji. Like they struggle to enter a little bit. South Korea struggle to enter a little bit. Goes into OT. Kills go down on both sides, but it's South Korea just I think they had a couple of earlier picks,
Lepelos.
and they're able
I'm
to save
just
their res for a bit later,
I'm just gonna
making a
quickly
difference.
talk to you about Tracer. Sabobi Lepelos kills Raucus, kills Jake, kills Raucus again,
Yeah.
then gets Sinatra and Baby Cool Matt. This is all going into overtime for the first point, Lepelos. I said Tracer cleans up fights. That's what he did. They have another 30 seconds now to push the second point.
Yeah, and that 30 seconds is put to good use.
What happened, Lepelos?
Sabolbi opening up here
There you go.
again. He's absolutely coming alive. It's pretty unfortunate for the side of USA because they're getting knocked down not only by Sabolbi here but Mano right after, including a hidden Mano with a primal rage. Jax.
Fantastic positioning, Lepelos. Listen. So many times, people in that situation, you're feeling it, right? You have the momentum, the blood is pumping, the adrenaline's going. You're literally using an ability called Primal Rage, where you ape out. For him to stop and hold that corner, Lepelos, and wait and give no clue that he's there, that is fantastic. But you want to know what else is fantastic, Lepelos? I'm going back to Sabolbi. Yes, I said Sabolbi again, like the A point here, Lepelos. What happens? He gets the pulse bomb onto Raucus Lepelos. He then gets Factor Fiction. He gets Sinatra. He gets Baby Cool Matt. That's again 4 kills for Sabolbi on the A point, Lepelos to cap it. 4 kills for Sabolbi on the B point to cap it out a second time. That's
Great.
what you do.
It's just great work. It's USA having to now capture all the way through. Jax finding good purchase off of the start on their 8 point attack. They get 2 picks, setting up a
Yep.
quick fight win, giving 4 minutes and 20 seconds for that B point attack. Jax, that's what you want when you're on your second attack. Unfortunately, they sort of get a scattered battle here. I want to say scattered. What I mean is a long
They got 2 CP
fight.
Lepelos. This
They
is
did.
classic 2 CP here.
And they got caught playing this loose style where you
Yep.
always feel like how to describe it. It's like you feel like you're gaining momentum, but you're actually fighting uphill here on 2CP. When you get a few pickoffs, you feel like you're winning. You know, if the trades keep on going even, like you still feel like you might be winning, but with the respawn advantage for defenders that you're really not.
Lepelos, you say you feel like you might be winning. It was a fight that went 2 minutes. They didn't get a tick, Lepelos.
Yeah, that's
South Korea played them here, man. Are you kidding me? They kept the fight going, knowing I mean, was there danger? Yes, it was very manageable danger here, Lepelos. Flower went to emergency bastion, not as good as some emergency bastions that we've seen, but it didn't matter. The
Yeah.
fight just kept rolling, and in these rolling fights, right? I talk about the adrenaline for Manu there on their attack on defense here for Team USA. I get it. You're in a fight. It's rolling. The kills are still coming. So you're saying we're making progress, and then lo and behold, Lepelos, 2 minutes have gone by. 2 minutes. Precious 2 minutes. You
Yeah.
don't have a tick, dude.
Yeah,
No
it's
tick.
well, that's okay for Team USA. They're able to fight back. They force Toby to use his Valkyrie first, and that allows USA to leverage a couple more picks into with their own Valkyrie, bringing more up later into a fight win and capture that B point in going into overtime. So we get third attacks now, Jax. We're not stuck up at a draw now.
Third attacks.
We have third attacks coming out.
Okay.
Full dive coming out of the South Korean side for their third attack here. Very aggressive, forces some trades, but USA managed to find the hold. Flower switching to Widowmaker as a last minute thing. Jax, no magic this time.
I almost want to say Ryu Jae-hong, he did hit one sleep. It cost him his life to hit it. If South Korea had been playing Mercy here, I feel as if they might have capped it. He was running the Ana. I get it. They're comfortable with what they know.
Yeah.
I
agree with you. I
USA
think
having the Mercy here is too great of an advantage. Like,
particularly
it just
in a 1 minute time
Yeah.
to get 1/3 or more of a capture. USA having to go
they
on
have a
there.
chance here, Lepos.
They
Champions close out games.
Yeah, and here South Korea now bringing. Is this right? That I wrote this down right? They brought out the pharmacy here.
We had a 2-2-2 for a tracer from the defense, Lepos. You did have pharmacy. You had Flower on the fair. You had Toby on the mercy here, Lepos. I do want to say Adam built his Valkyrie
really
very quickly, Lepos. Very quickly.
And they do get a great advantage in some trades on point with that. But the DPS of South Korea too strong here. Sabolbi and Flower as the fight extended, nobody's checking them, Jax. They're left to do work, and they did really good work here.
Congrats and props to them. I'm gonna touch on that in a second. For me, Ryu Jae-hong put in work here. Toby went down early, Leplos. His Valkyrie was at 93%. At that point, Sabolbi, the Tracer player, he activated his hero mode. Ryu Jae-hong, he also activated his own hero mode to build Transcendence mid-fight. He needed the Transcendence because Jake had his Tactical Visor. As a result, Jake only got 1 kill from the Tactical Visor because Ryu Jae-hong came in with the Transcendence Leplos. At that point, Raucus, the Zen for USA, 20% behind Lepelos. That's a significant amount in a fight that's going on right here. So Bolby, huge pulse bomb onto Sinatra. Then he kills Adam. You kill the enemy Tracer. You kill the enemy Mercy Lepelos. In the cleanup, he gets Factor Fiction. Ryu Jae-hong comes off of respawn after he died. He gets Jake, who was, on the outside of the point looking in, trying to poke. The clock is ticking down. Team USA has nothing there, Lepelos. If Sabolbi doesn't get Sinatra with that pulse bomb, or if he doesn't get Sinatra, period, Team USA most likely win the fight. I talk about fights where Tracer wants to be in. This is it. Everyone is low health. The DPS output from a Tracer is very high levels, very fast. You can quickly clean up like Sabolbi did here. He got the pulse bomb onto Sinatra, got Adam, got Factor Fiction. They were all low.
Yeah, Jax,
cleaned them up.
you said it.
Fantastic work here.
Champions win games. Champions
It's a draw. It's not even a win, Lepelos. It's a draw.
Well, they needed that to force a draw. USA not able to take
Lepelos,
to
quite
take
possibly the best 2CP I've ever seen. You won't hear that out of me very often.
It's definitely great. USA, I believe, takes us to Gibraltar next year, and they have to go on attack first again. USA here finding a bit of a messy fight off the start. South Korea getting a good defense. Going into OT, USA finally finds the picks on the DPS side of
Jake
Korea.
with the Helix rocket into Sabolbi, tactical visors
Huge.
down Toby Leplos with 10 seconds left. If he doesn't get those, they don't make it through. South Korea was in no danger of losing the point until that happened. I mean, that's what it takes, right? All it takes is that one pick. That's why Mercy being able to undo that one pick is so important. But here, Helix rocket into Sabolbi gets Toby. Well, you don't have to worry about Mercy at that point, do you? Team USA does make it through the first point levels. Do they make it much farther than that?
Jax, I'm going to say two things. First off, the long fights continue, which is not what you want when you're the attacking faction. And USA did this a couple times, not finding very much territory or progress when they're in these types of fights.
I think we talked before about another good sign of great teams, Lepelos, is the disengage. A lot of times you do like the attack, but like on Hanamura and here on Watchpoint, the South Koreans are fantastic at baiting Lepelos. They bait USA into these fights thinking that they've got it. I have here in my notes the classic saying, South Korea Lepelos, they bend, they don't break. They literally gave up little USA was pushing it, right? The payload stopped like maybe a meter, 2 meters short.
Well, the second thing I wanted to mention, when that switch comes, right, in going towards that point.
Yeah.
What do we get? We get another Bastion coming out for a hold here. Surprise. And it works.
You expect Bastion on Watchpoint?
No one suspects that. I mean, you should if you're going to play a flower. He loves breaking that out. USA not able to break through here. Jax, that's not too far for South Korea to make. Let's go ahead and discuss South Korea's attack here.
Flower. What to discuss? How do you stop Widow?
Not by diving at Widowmaker without any coverage. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than he's
Lepelos,
just
he
clicking
even had
heads.
to be imposed with the emote. He had that much time.
He killed that many people, Jax. It was just amazing highlight reel stuff for Flower coming out.
They had 5 minutes and 25 seconds to push the 80-meter distance that Team USA set Lepelos. The payload went 45 meters, 45 of the 80 meters, Lepelos, before USA even got around to defending the payload, man.
Yeah, it looked almost as bad as what Eichenwald B-point defense was for USA. Let's put it
Lepelos,
there.
they finished with 3 minutes and 50 seconds in the bank. That's no defense.
Definitely.
How do you stop Widow?
Definitely disappointing. I mean, some of it's positioning, some of it's. I read a good analysis on Reddit. I'm sorry, I forget the username that posted it in the discussion section or in the comment section, talking about the differences between different ways of dealing with it. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but basically it comes down to two things: pressure on the Widowmaker and playing playing a shield and positioning game. And
Lepelos, there
while
was
USA
no.
on Hanamura had a good
Yeah.
positioning, they didn't have the additional shields and they didn't have pressure. So they missed two out of the three major factors of dealing
The
with the
thing for
Widowmaker.
me on
Here,
watch point
same here.
defense Lepelos, the thing for me was they didn't have the positioning. And that positioning, because at one point I'm saying to myself, is the attacking Widowmaker on top of the shuttle?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, did they give him that position? Like, top of the shuttle is the defense position, Lepelos. That's where you want to hold. That's what you want to control to engage from. When they came back out, he demeched Coolmat immediately. That's one of the soft counters to Widow already down. And at that point, he's just zipping around with the grapple hook Lepelos, going wherever he wants, taking shots. He zoned them out.
Yeah.
He
No.
zoned them.
This
Top notch play here.
this was a highlight, as I said, highlight reel for Flower here. Basically, easy win for South Korea here on Gibraltar. That puts us into map 5, Jax. Even though it's not technically like quote unquote map 5, it's not a 2-2 here.
I know.
It's they called it a 3-2 here. I don't know why they added points to both sides.
The final
Doesn't
score
matter.
really confused me after all this. But we go into Oasis. Basically, Lepelos, it's match point for South Korea.
It's match point for South Korea on Oasis. Jax, USA trying to stay in it here. Starting off on City Center. Pharmacy coming out. On the side of South Korea, they're able to get that first 2 kills early on their side and take that clean first fight as a result of that. And with the sky control under their side, Jake comes out with a Pharah of his own. Sort of does do some work, but really not enough on the side of the USA here.
I mean, they were able to flip it in overtime. So basically, South Korea runs it up to 99% Lepelos. Classic overtime flip for USA, where you give it your all to get the point, but that leaves you in the position of having to hold your own self to go from 100 to go from 0 to 100 Lepelos. They get it to 90, which isn't quite 100, so they don't win the first map.
Yeah, they don't. It's South Korea now with a clear advantage going into the second round of Oasis, which is Garden Pharmacy coming out again. South Korea again, another clean fight win off the start. USA looking a little bit. I mean, come on, they're in a bad situation here. There's no doubt about that. Rocket's getting picked early next fight, making it things worse on the side of USA.
Those Rockets died first in the first and second fight. That's your mercy gone.
Yeah, you can't have this.
It's a
happen.
mercy meta. How do you have a mercy meta with your mercy?
It gets
dead?
worse, Jax. I'm gonna skip ahead. Rocket's getting picked again, going into OT.
Lepelos.
You can't have this happen. Going into OT, this is a fight you need to win. You should have ults for this one, but instead you get picked. South Korea hold on there.
Lepelos.
100-0. They take that map. They take the series, Jax.
Lepelos. Ryu Jae-hung beat Rockets to Valkyrie by 55%.
That is aggressive.
In the fourth fight, which is basically the final fight, he dies Lepelos first, 77%. He comes off of respawn Lepelos. He dies 92%. He never built Valkyrie the entire round. It's Mercy meta, Lepelos. You don't build Valkyrie in a Mercy meta?
Talk about either no protection, good focus by South Korea, or no. I'm going to agree with what Tosi is saying here, which is Rockets' mercy play, particularly here when it mattered. I don't want to say mattered the most because you're already sort of in a losing situation, but when you're in the desperation moments, which I also will equate with clutch times, like times when you need to show up more than, or where you can show that you can play under pressure. Rocket's not showing that he cannot play mercy under pressure here. I think these deaths show it.
The thing for me, Lepelos, I don't understand why he's playing mercy. I get Adam might be the better Lucio. Why is he playing? I'm sorry, Lepelos. It's game point, match point here. In a mercy meta, why is Adam not on mercy?
I agree
Lepelos,
with you, Jax.
He's known for mercy.
I'm not sure. You'll have to talk to your team representatives for your country, Jax.
Someone get Coach Kai on the line and explain this to me, Lepelos. But Lepelos,
Telegram.
let me give you a
Someone
number
said Morse
here.
code to Coach Kai.
Let me give you a number here, Lepelos. 29-1. Now, I'm just going to say 29-1, and then I'm going to ask you, do you know what that means?
I do not off the top of my head.
29-1 is Sabolbi's kill line, Lepelos. Kill deaths on Oasis.
Elimination or kills?
I believe it's eliminations.
Okay, that which is amazing.
29
Still,
Lepelos.
he died once.
Eliminations kills, it doesn't matter. 29-1?
I mean, listen, even
What has 150K been doing here, Lepelos?
he has been collating the number of excuses that he's going to have for his lack of performance here.
Savage.
And he's going to present them on Twitch a couple days later, Jax, as befits 150K worth of salt.
Oh, Lepelos bringing the heat, y'all. Bringing the heat. Let me ask you something, Lepelos. Who is your MVP of this match?
This is hard, Jax, because
I know.
Listen,
okay, I'm gonna point out one of the main casters for OGN. I forget his name, but there was a good Reddit thread put up by TIS Robin, where the guy, he's also on the Korean National Committee, very knowledgeable of the game. I'll tell you, his MVP was Toby.
I mean,
that's who he picked.
I understand that. If you're going to go with Flash, you have to go with either. Okay, no, first Flash.
No, Lepelos. I'm not putting Flash. Put everything aside. Who is your MVP of this match?
Off the start here. I mean,
not just
it's
Oasis,
either,
but the entire series.
It's either gonna be Sabalbi or Toby. And I'll explain why. Let me go through. The first person you might think of is Flower because of his excellent Widowmaker play. 2 maps, great. I go back to his
Pharaoh was great as well, but yes.
Well, not all the time. You go back to his early plays on Nepal.
Okay.
He was
right.
He was mediocre there. Okay on Eichenwald. He had some moments. Obviously, free Junkrat kills. Obviously, always great when you do that. But Sabalbi, I would say, was more consistent. And when I talk about MVPs, I don't care. Flash is great and all, but I look for more consistency. This is when I level complaints at like Surfer and others. I talk about consistency being more important to me. I feel like Sabalbi was consistent through every single map.
Sabalbi to me, Lepelos was the MVP.
Yeah.
So we have multiple times. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no,
go ahead.
yeah. I agree with you that he's going to be my MVP here because I don't think I could say Toby was a difference maker in a lot of fights. There were some fights where he did make the difference, right? But there were also a couple times where he got caught in poor position, and that makes a difference.
If you give Toby a month to work with Mercy, he'll probably be MVP. Here, I mean, he did a very good job for someone who, South Korea they didn't have much time in the Mercy meta, right? So between him and Ryu Jae-hung, who was swapping off of Lepelos, neither one of them was a tier 1 Mercy. Let's just be honest. Neither one of them played a tier 1 Mercy.
No.
But they've got plenty of time to work on that. For me, Sabalbi put on a clinic as to how you play Tracer and why she's borderline broken here, Lepelos. I don't care what 150K wants to say as to why he did not perform at the same level as Sabalbi. Sabalbi beat him up, Lepelos, and beat him into the ground. I think this was a dominant performance by someone at the highest level. I absolutely enthralled by what he did, and I cannot wait. I'm not a huge fan of the New York Excelsior Lepelos. If he can do this in the Overwatch League, it's going to be very good.
Definitely. Jax, let's go ahead, though. I'm going to skip over what I was going to say there.
Amazing play by this guy. Wow.
We've got a couple of
semifinals. Let's go through it quickly.
Yeah, this is semifinals here. We had, on the upper bracket, we had none other than Sweden and Canada taking place, Jax.
Yeah.
I don't have my notes. 1 second. Let me just go look at this one.
I don't see you say notes. I didn't even take notes on this game.
I took notes for every series but this one, actually, because this.
Oh, see, Lepelos putting in a lot of notes.
I really enjoyed the game.
We had limited time here, Lepelos, and if I have notes, then I know I'm going to be talking for a long time.
Well,
I didn't take notes.
Yeah, no,
for the good of the podcast, I did not take notes.
I've been trying to summarize things as best as I can to keep us moving, but at least have a couple per map while we're talking about a lot. And anyways, Jax, I just watched this game after the fact, and it was a really good series between Canada and Sweden here for sure in the upper
basically semifinal number 1 in the upper half of the bracket.
Number 1, however you want to call it. It was a really good series here. Starting off with Nepal, Jax. Nepal was actually a pretty convincing story coming out of the side of Team Canada here with a quick 2-0 over Sweden.
Coming into this series and going off of how the two teams played in their first games, I expected a strong start from Sweden, especially on King of the Hill with the DPS that they have. Tavik and Snillo, rather strong DPS. Manitin, very good in the flex Lepolos. And this is Mercy meta. And Chips is basically... Chips, I think we see him play at... I keep using tier 1 just because everybody else does. Does Chips play any support not at a tier 1 level, Lepolos? Anna, Zen, Mercy... I guess we don't ever see him on. He doesn't have to play Lucio, but all these other supports, Lepolos. I mean, he plays them all well. Like, is there anyone who plays the other main supports as good as Chips? I mean, every one of them.
It's a good question, Jax. We could probably have podcasts talking about that, but he definitely played very well throughout this match. Let's go ahead talk about Kings Row, Jax. Canada again showing some weakness here on Kings Row. They give up the full capture here to Sweden. I believe there was some time left on the clock as well. Canada on the flip side couldn't make that second or the B point going into the Foundry. They struggled against Sweden on their defense here. It's concerning stuff for Team Canada.
I think one of the things that concerns me about your boys Lepolos consistency. They're very hit or miss, and it's something. I mean, well, they don't have to keep working on it because this is, this tournament is the only time they'll be together. Maybe they'll be together again next year. But Team Canada, not. I mean, because I go back to their series against China, and they started out a little iffy, and then they had a few iffy moments. If in the series, oh my goodness, I'm confusing teams. Holy crap! Sorry about that. Against Australia, and basically, I'm not. Canada has talent, Lepolos.
Yeah.
To me, it shows they did not go through a week-long boot camp like Team USA.
They're not funded by NVIDIA.
The preparation just doesn't seem there.
But Jax, I mean, you can't say that the NVIDIA Shield protected USA. But we're not even getting paid to sell out, Jax. I'm sorry.
Let's go. No, sellout would be if we had something to tie into T-Mobile like Golden Boy.
Yeah, there you go.
Fantastic job by Golden Boy on the desk.
Yeah, no.
That's where he. I mean,
he is honestly a great host.
He's fantastic host of this event was Golden Boy Lepolos, but Map 3 was hosted by Team Sweden Lepolos on Hanamura.
Yeah.
And Team Canada, the struggles continue.
Yeah, they're definitely not lighting up here on the kill feed very much, Jax. They're not able to close out on that second point. Team Sweden earning a fairly quick Hanamura match in order to force game point, take us into watch point Gibraltar. Jax, finally Canada coming alive here.
Where's this Canada on the maps, Lepolos? That's what I'm talking about. If you look at it, they finished with 140 seconds left in the time bank, Lepolos. Yeah. Pretty on watch point. It's pretty good.
They rocked Sweden on the offense. They I want to say did well, particularly in the third phase for their defense here.
Right.
XQC I think played an excellent Gibraltar here. Overall, but Canada coming through in the clutch, forcing Game 5 yet again. There's 2 games now. 2 series that they've forced Game 5 now.
I mean, it's tiring, but at least they're not breaking. They're continuing on. It's the Canadian fighting spirit, Lepos. I don't know much about it, but maybe you do, and you can take us through Oasis to see how it ends.
I mean, Oasis ends in a 2-1, Jax. We're just going to skip ahead to the scoreline here. Canada, I mean, listen, you can't get closer than this. You have all 3 rounds played on Oasis, Jax. Huge play. I want to just say it again now. The support's coming through for Team Canada throughout the 2 final matches, particularly here for the Canada-Sweden match. Again, just really great work in order to make it through and upset Sweden. I want to say upset here because I think Sweden should have had this. If I'm to be honest, I feel like Sweden. If you ask me, like, okay, so
Lepolos, we picked everything. Is team misfits.
We picked everything last time, Jax, based on the rankings or what we had. Like last week, we picked who was going to go through. I did pick Canada then, but we both agreed that we should probably be able to pick who is going through the semifinals based off of the quarterfinals. Jax, watching those quarterfinals, I would have picked Team Sweden to go through here. I would have picked
Team Sweden.
I'm happy to see Canada make it through, and that that's great clutch work. And again, opposed to say like talking about Raucus like 5 minutes ago when we were talking about Raucus not being clutch. It's not a game winning, but it's definitely a game losing adjacent play here. Canada coming through when everything's on the line. You can't get more clutch than that.
Lepolos, I look at Team Sweden and I mentioned it previously, it was 4 out of the 6 for Misfits. It screamed it. This to me is contender season 1 finals
Yeah.
against Giganti all over, where they come into a match as the favorites, Lepolos, and they don't close it out. And here, there's no logics to put the blame on, like it was for season 1 here, and Snillo and Chipsgen aren't a part of Misfits, but the core of this team is Misfits. The people who made the choice to, bench Reinforce, that came from Misfits here, Lepolos.
Yeah. And
If
we'll
if
talk
I'm
about.
the Florida Mayhem going into Overwatch League,
I'm
I
concerned.
have some serious concerns about our land performance, Lepolos.
I
mean,
would
yes,
be too.
I know people say, Jack, you can't really, it's completely different circumstances. They didn't have their full team here. I'm sorry, but the core is here, and they're not producing, Lepolos.
Yeah, there's no excuse, particularly if they're going to be the primary core for the Overwatch.
What mean primary core? They only have 6 players.
I know.
They're the only team with 6 players.
I think that's from a management standpoint. They have opportunities to hire
Lepolos,
midseason.
if they
It's
break a
definitely disappointing.
toe like iRemix, they don't have a sub.
Maybe they don't rage over in Sweden. Anyways, Jax, let's go ahead and talk about the other semifinals.
For Sweden, I went to Sweden, Lepolos. I like Sweden.
I know.
But
I feel disappointed in their performance here.
You're Canadian. You're happy, Lepolos. You're in
I'm
the
happy,
finals.
but I am understanding that Sweden deserve from their regular play, not here in the clutch, but from their regular play, they look stronger than Canada. They didn't show up when it mattered, though, and meeting the challenges and overcoming the obstacles. This is an underdog story for Team Canada. They're putting themselves in that position. They have great players, but their inconsistency always means they're fighting from behind, as was the case here. Jackson, let's talk about France versus Korea a little bit. We're not going to talk too long about this one, but let's go through a little bit here. France able to take one round on Oasis here. That was on City Center, the second round, but Korea getting the first and third round, including Zunba coming alive here a little bit, particularly on Gardens, allows them to take this first match. Second map going to Nimbani, classic rogue map to go to, Jax. This one actually went pretty long. France able to get through all 3 stages, only in OT, of course, but we're able to cap through. On the flip side, Korea struggled on A point here, Jax. France having great early holds, but not finding holds in the second phase really cost them. Doesn't really slow Korea down either in the third, but still Korea held to 38 seconds on the clock, giving both teams another chance to attack. Jax, you got to look at this one and feel like it favors France, right?
Yeah. I mean, yes.
You're low on time. You have to capture A. They had a great A point attack. They had a great A point defense. I don't want to talk about throwing here, Jax, but they're trying something different, and I think it was a bad idea. They bring out a Bastion for their second attack.
I just see, for me, it's like with Team China. It's like, really at this point, that's the play you make. Like, we've seen people do this on Nobani before, Lepos, the surprise attack Bastion. It very rarely works. Very rarely works here, Lepos. Didn't work.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It's too risky. It's too risky. I like risk. This is too risky.
Yeah, now instead you're playing for a hold. Jax, they break out AKM, I believe, again, was on the fair for a defense here, which is dangerous. They managed to find the first hold, but going into OT, 2 key things going on here for me. Sound barrier, France needs to take advantage when they use it. Don't really find anything off of that. No kills coming through in that advantage for them.
Yeah.
Second thing, Zumba landing at the end of another round here. What I'm going to call it a 1.5 kill self-destruct here because he got a DMAC. And that was sort of a tie turner here to help Korea push through and get the secure.
How many times do we have to say this? Champions will find a way. I'm sorry. You might think I'm being repetitive. Lepolos, this is what they're doing. When it comes down to it, you will find a way to win, or if you're not the champion, you'll find a way to lose. That being said, Lepolos, we go to Hanamura next, and things get a little interesting here.
I mean, you say that, Team France, Rogue, known for being exactly what you're saying, finding a way. Here, Jax, they find a way uh, through Korea's A point only in OT. France struggling against the Orisa Roadhog for Korea. I mean, that looking brilliant on the side of Korea, where they're like, hey, we can just halt over top of the shield and then hook people in.
Yeah.
It was great to watch. France only able to make progress with the ultimate advantage and only get approximately 50% on that B point, Jax. Not looking good for France.
At least they capped the first point level.
Yeah.
That you got to look for the goodness in things, right? So they got first, they got a little bit of progress in second. That's a start, right? So you know what you got to do. Basically,
Deal with
you gotta pray, Leplos. If he comes out with the Widow, Leplos,
you know he's coming out with
unable to deal with Widow, unable.
So we talked about the differences. We talked about positioning, harassing, and shields being the three main factors in dealing with a great Widowmaker who's hot. Here they have all of it on the side of France. The Orissa's coming out. They play the corners well, and they have Soon playing a better tracer than Sinatra was at that time.
Okay, to be fair, Team France here, Leplos, they had the benefit of the game footage.
Absolutely.
So they knew there's a strong possibility of this coming out.
And
they played it well.
And they played around it well. I mean, they ended up holding.
And executing are two different things. So congrats to Team France for doing that.
And Soon played well as well.
Yes,
so
he did.
He played that well.
Pressure on the win. Leplos, you got to. When you're on watch point defense, Leplos, and the enemy attacking Widowmaker has taken the top of the shuttle, you have failed. Okay? Here, Soon is like, I'm not going to give you space to just murder my supports and murder everybody else. Congrats to Soon. I mean, sorry, I talk about tracers doing tracer things. So Bolby, you know what he did? He put pressure on them, Leplos. Soon is like, okay, you're not going to play Widow here. So what did they do, Leplos?
Yeah, he ends up switching to Bastion at one point here.
Oh, my Pelos.
Suffice to say here, I just want to say France full holding Korea on A.
Was this BM from Korea, Lepelos?
This was the Bastion switch.
Yeah, Lepelos.
I think that's
from Widow to Bastion for 4 minutes. This is BM.
It's definitely a little bit BM. They're not.
Already.
Yeah, they do. They're like, okay, we're gonna give up this map. We're just playing whatever. So yes, I consider this very much like, well, we're gonna give up this match. But ultimately, it goes down in the scorebooks that South Korea got shut out on a map, Jax.
Okay.
So something most people would not have predicted. But
correct. I mean, congrats, Team France.
Yeah.
It was game point, so they're still in it. Lepelos.
Listen, if
going
Korea
back to watch point Gibraltar, which after what Team South Korea did to Team USA, I'm a little worried. But then again, Team France, they found a way to deal with the Widowmaker, where Team USA did not. So perhaps watch point will be a little bit different for them.
I do want to mention just briefly that the South Korean, like this attitude, like when you BM like this, I have this sort of hope in the future that they'll get caught doing this in the future, right? Where they think they're ahead, that they've got a series down.
Envy did this in Contender Season 1. Multiple games where Envy is up 3-0, and in that last game that didn't matter, whatever, we'll try some stuff, and they ended up losing. But it didn't matter, so... Exactly. You're saying one of these days the team is going to get caught.
Well, I mean, this game could still matter, right? Like, because it's a
best of. I do not discount Team Rogue France, France Rogue.
Let's talk a little bit about Gibraltar here. Korea going off on their attack here on the start. Quick A capture for them here. Held up a little bit in the hangar phase, but AKM trying to bring out the counter Widow in the third phase. But really, it's Sabalbi here. 2 kills off of a pulse bomb, letting Korea punch through with 2:07 o'clock. Jax, that's a fast time for Gibraltar.
Fast time, yeah.
France on the other side struggle even getting up through car wash. Cap A only in OT. Good initial progress in the hangar, but again, OT fight only turns when Soon does some great work for France and allow them to make that B point. The early stall from Korea in the third phase allows them to set up the final defense here. France are shut out from making that C point on Gibraltar. They take their third map here to move on to the grand finals to face Team Canada. And in third place, we've got Sweden versus Team France.
A bit sad that Team France didn't get much of a break in between these games here, Leplos. They had to go from that grueling series against South Korea into this one against Sweden here. But could have fooled me because on the first map of Nepal, they come out and says, we got this. I mean, I mean, when it comes to stories in Overwatch, when you look at these two teams here, you've got Rogue over here, you've got Misfits on the other side, Lepelos, Tavik, formerly of Rogue, and then you got Reinforced tweeting about how he wishes he was here
Yeah.
because this is what the history between these players, right? Like one of the things going forward. Stories in sports are what often draw people in, not just what happens on the field or on the or on the screen here. And this being the end of Team France Rogue, because this finally they're splitting up after this. It's pretty memorable, at least for those of us who have been in or been following competitive Overwatch for the last year and a half. So I enjoyed this series. Basically, that's what I'm saying. And it started out pretty well for France.
Yeah, it did. It started on Nepal first off, and they managed to take a quick lead over Sweden here with a 2-0 on this map, Jack, setting themselves up for a good start against Team Sweden. If you're Team Sweden, you're sort of concerned, Jack. Actually, before we get into it, though, I want to say I just want to remind everybody that last week I made all these predictions, and so far they're coming through. And now, like
I
I
mean,
picked.
Lepelos, okay.
I'm just
No
gonna.
one can expect Team UK to come out and be that bad,
I
Lepelos.
I
They
didn't
were
expect
awful.
that, but I did pick Sweden. I did pick Canada. I did pick France. I did pick South Korea.
Lepelos, you just said Canada coming into this was the underdog and Sweden fell apart like Sweden
But
does.
I went with my team to get to the grand finals.
Lepelos.
So
Okay,
Canada making it
I mean,
through.
here's the deal. If 150K plays like 150K and not 150 cents, this bracket of yours is crushed
But
because I
that
would
didn't
be on
happen.
top with Team USA, Lepelos.
South
And
Korea
look, the
beat
row.
France. France now up 1-0 in the third
Oh,
place match. I picked France to win third. In fact, we both picked France to win third,
did
Jacks.
we?
Yeah, we
I
both did.
mean, yeah.
We
Okay.
had different routes to get here.
What a
You had
horrible
US
bracket
beating
for me. I'm
France.
glad I didn't have any money in
You had
this bracket,
UK.
Lepelos.
You had
I would
UK.
have lost a lot of money had I gambled on this.
I'm not a gambler, man, but I would have had a high rate of return this time. In any case, Kings Row, bit of a different story. This one actually went a little bit long. Sweden with a really good attack, managing to get through with 2:20 on the clock. France on their attack managed to get through A with a quick attack there with Farah coming through. Graviton though in the second phase finding a good Unco transcendence there as France continue to roll through B with ease, and then they find some struggles. Jax, the third phase defense coming out of Sweden here, a good series of defense. I want to say Tavik starting things off with a good series of kills. Swoosh landing a massive Earth Shatter after a conch mine lifts the French tank up,
Knox.
knocks up into the air. That was a brilliant Earth Shatter. He comes back later for an Earth Shatter with a Riptire 3 kill for Team Sweden, which also shuts down the Deadeye. Snill 3 kill Deadeye. Are you kidding me with all these alt value, Jacks? Incredible alt value from Sweden here. France though,
Lepelos, see, this is what I'm talking about. Inconsistency. Where was this team Sweden when they played Canada in the
they
semifinals?
I mean they got 2 maps off of it, but even then it was not enough.
Okay.
AKM finally getting some initial picks here. Or just getting the initial pick definitely helped France push through an OT. Sweden forced to do a second attack. Pretty easy for them overall with that time, though. They even had Manson on the Widowmaker here, forcing France into a poor position. Sweden able to sweep up France from that poor position as they take that 1/3 and that map. Pretty easy. It was
I
a really
mean,
good play out of the Team Sweden here, particularly on that third phase defense.
we to go from there, Lepelos to 2 CP of Hanamura, and I mean,
Long map
we
again.
see, the thing is, we kind of have to pick up pace here.
Yeah.
So, because we haven't even done the finals level, so we're already over 90 minutes in.
That we knew it was going to be long.
Lepelos,
I
we're
let
90
in.
minutes in, Lepelos.
I
Pick
know.
up the pace, man. Pick up the pace. Let's go.
Yeah, this one going into second attacks for each side.
Oh boy.
On the side of France, they had 2:55 on the clock when they made it through their first attack. Sweden on the other side had 1:28 or so on their timer going into the second attack. So Sweden going on their second attack here. France bringing out the Orisa defense, and it works out. They're able to hold on. France now going on their attack. Mannichen finding really good work on his Roadhog here, shutting down France. Also, very patient on their second defense as they hold out for draw. Jack, we had another draw on Hanamura here.
Someone get Nate Nanzer on the line. This cannot happen, Lepo. These draws, I don't like draws. And at least here, at least both teams don't get a point like we saw in Contenders. That was dreadful.
Yeah, they give them a map or whatever by the scoring system, but it's not a real map, right? Because this is a best of 5.
I don't like draws, Lepos.
I agree with you.
Replay the map. Some people don't like because it might make games too long. I remember that one. I think it was APAC last year, 2016. Lepos. They had to replay Hollywood 3 times because the teams kept drawing. Maybe that's a little excessive here. And while I'm not a fan of going to a best of 1 King of the Hill, I would rather see that than a draw. I don't like draws. From here, we go to Watch Point Gibraltar. Lepolos. Team Sweden is like, we got this. Got this. I mean,
that's pretty much true from here on. I mean, AKM getting out the Widow on their attack, and he's no flower. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, Lepolos. What are you talking? Lepolos. Flower commended AKM on Twitter.
Yeah, and for his Pharah play, Jax, not his Widow play. He didn't see he did see the Widow play.
So you want to add in these qualifiers like on specific heroes? Okay, AKM.
I mean,
you're not wrong. But...
He gave the shout out for his Pharah play, I believe. I mean, AKM's Widow play definitely was not impressive here. Let's just say Sweden holding France to 76.64 meters. Do I need to say how doable of a distance that is on Gibraltar? I do not. Sweden take this easily.
Match point, Team Sweden.
Yeah, and France starting off well though on Oasis. AKM going off on the start here to ensure France gets 100-0 on the garden phase. Sweden respond really quickly, breaking out Rhine, Zarya, McCree combo, which destroys France for their own quick 100-0 on the University. City Center, France none able to really hold on very well on their defenses, then unable to really coordinate effective pushback in, allowing Sweden to secure 154 with really great support play, I have to say, on the side of Chips, particularly. Chips, but
you say that like you're surprised.
I'm not surprised. This was a side comment. I just wanted to make sure that's getting through. As Team Sweden earned the 3rd place victory.
That's bronze.
That is bronze. Jax, I was wrong here. I thought France was going to win 3rd place, but they did not show up the way I wanted to.
The end of Lepos, the last we'll see of Team Rogue France. The end of an era.
And you're losing to not even a full Misfits team.
They put in, I mean, Rogue, such a huge part of competitive Overwatch over the last year and a half, Lepolos. Like, it feels bad to see them go out like this. Lepolos, only Soon and Unko are signed up for the Overwatch League. AKM has been commended by Sabolbi and Flower for his play, Lepolos. He can't get picked up for Overwatch League?
It's definitely. I mean,
come on.
We can have whole podcasts talking about how
we probably will, Lepolos.
We probably will.
It's just sad, man. I mean, end of an era right here.
It definitely is a shame to see them go. Hopefully, there will be some new French team coming out and taking.
I'm hearing rumors of it. I'm hearing rumors of a new French team for Contender Season 2.
I mean, listen, Contenders. Who knows with the quality that we'll get out of Contender Season 2? Definitely some room for
we need to get
players.
Nate Nanzer on the podcast to explain these things.
But, I am going to just say this now, which is I think there will be a bit of a drop off in skill level because the people who really want to get into Overwatch League will probably be disheartened, and so you're looking at people who are on the up and up trying to get through, but aren't necessarily at the level that Season 1 of Contenders were. Plus, people like a lot of the top players are now playing Overwatch League. Anyways, Jax, let's go ahead and talk about the grand finals, which are between my team Canada and South Korea. Here.
Okay, Lepolos.
I did pick Team Korea here to win, Jax. I'm just going to get that out of the way.
You went turncoat.
I was realistic, I think, Jax. I was realistic about
it. Is that how you're going to play it off? Okay, realistic, he says.
All right, why don't we get into it, though. Oasis here, starting off with University. And, Jax, I mean, you might make me eat my words as Canada gets a quick 100-0 on this one. Uh,
Um, I know coming into this tournament, you had some doubts about Surefour. His tracer play here was top notch.
yeah,
Lepelos agilities on the Genji was top notch. Of
both
course,
really good.
Flower to drop his own Genji to go to McCree to try to deal with some of the dive that was going on. It didn't really work. Rolf, we talk about top support players here. Lepelos also talk about top support players who aren't in the Overwatch League. I'm talking about Rolf. He did well dealing with the dive from Sabolbi, killed him a couple times on Zen. Your supports have to be able to take care of themselves at times because everybody else is busy. 100-0 Canada Lepelos, they're coming out swinging.
Yeah, definitely what incredible play out of Team Canada. Although we talked about the inconsistency previously in the two
Yeah.
previous Canada series. Here, I feel like everyone landed on playing their great game at the same time. If Canada could keep that consistency throughout the rest, I think Canada could compete
They've got the
really
skill
well.
levels. If
Yeah,
you look at Team Canada,
they
their biggest
they
weakness might be off
absolutely.
tank here, flex tank.
Yeah.
But their area, all these other positions, they're
Well,
well staffed.
speaking of that, Jax, they actually break out 1-3-2 strategy on Garden
3-2.
Phase with
What
Pharah's.
meta is this?
Mangachu
Okay,
not
1-3-2.
looking the strongest on his Pharah. I've got to be honest here. Zamba on the flip side with his Diva, really great work for the side of Korea. The tank work continues as next fight, I believe it's Mano getting 2 kills on the Primal Rage for early hold. Korea really good pressure on XQC as the single tank. It's really a struggle for Canada here at this point. Mangachu does come alive here a little bit, keeping them in it in the late stage or late portion of this, but it's not enough. I mean, Korea strong on their retake with a great sound barrier coming out of the side of Toby here to shut down Agilities as he goes for his Dragon Blade. I don't think Agilities found anything on that Dragon Blade. Forcing round 3 City Center. Jax, I want to go through this one quickly because, again, Zumba coming alive here. Great work. Getting an early pick on Rolf at one point, for instance, for an early hold. Canada not really finding entrance without losing a
Buffos,
support.
they could never get themselves going.
Yeah.
So Bobi and Mano at the very beginning with that flank for the flanking dive here for Mano, as the casters pointed out, to not use his leap to initiate so that he could get away with it. Fantastic work here. Agilities went from Genji to Pharah Lepelos. Neither one very effective. We talked about it being very DPS meta right now. Mercy meta, but also the DPS matters. DPS always matters.
DPS always will. Yeah.
And Agilities not getting it done here on City Center. Lepelos, South Korea take the first map.
Yeah, it's a shame off of how well things started here for Canada. Canada going to Kings Row, which, I mean, you got to question this pick.
Lepelos, highly suspect pick because I mean not only because of who they're facing, but take a look at their last Kings Row, right?
Their last two, I believe, right? Like even against.
Did they take? Let me see. So against Team Sweden here, Lepelos. Team Sweden beat them on Kings Row 2-1.
Australia, I believe, beat them on Kings Row pretty badly too, if I'm not mistaken.
Australia beat them 4-3. Lepelos. I don't understand because the thing for me is it's Team Korea, right?
Yeah.
The casters pointed out Team Korea did very well on Kings Row in the previous series that they played. Not only that, take a look at the members of Team Korea, specifically Ryu Jae-hong and Toby. Lunatic High loves King Row Lepelos. You do not take South Korea to Kings Row. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't.
It's crazy because this almost plays out exactly how Canada's round against Sweden went. Only Canada having to attack first this time. They basically do make it through A point.
If Agilities doesn't get the Dragon Blade kills Lepelos, they don't make it.
Yeah,
Flower on Junkrat was destroying Canada Lepelos.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Canada able to get some distance in second, but they're held before they can make that B point. This is exactly what happened in the Canada-Sweden matchup on Kings Row. I'm not surprised to see it happen here. I'm mainly surprised that they managed to break it through, but you're right. It was Agilities with that key Dragon Blade, and this is what Team Canada's been living and dying by, and I don't want to say by a sword here, but it's literally by whether it's literally
where's
whether
Surefour at Lepelos.
This is exactly what I'm saying, Jax. It's whether one of these DPS can make clutch plays. Here was Agilities one time. Mangachu had a good two kill Riptire to allow Canada to push through, but that's it. You know, it's only when the DPS come alive and do something outstanding do Canada make any progress. Korea, on the flip side, consistent work on their attack here, flowered on that Pharah, convincingly make that distance easy to
Flower doing whatever he wants up there. I feel bad. I don't. I have it in my notes. Interesting map pick by Canada, but it's not. It's horrible.
It is a
It's
very,
horrible.
very poor Mac pick. I do agree with them going to Hanamura. You've seen Korea strategies on this one.
Was this the only 2CP in the map pool or something?
Listen, I feel like we've seen a lot of the same maps again for all ones, but yeah, we're back to Hanamura here.
Where's Volskaya or Anubis, man? You know? Horizon Lunar Colony, but Canada goes on the attack here first, Lepelos.
Oh, it struggles too. Canada getting absolutely destroyed until they finally switch to a different comp, Jax. One that actually
Lepelos, you
throws
say
South
finally.
Koreans.
They started with 222 Genji Tracer into 132 Genji Tracer Junkrat into 222 McCree Junkrat.
Yeah, they tried a lot, but it was the switch to 312 Jax that actually paid off here.
Oh, so that's 4
310.
different comps, dude.
And moreover, again, we talk about key
Come on.
player of Sabalbi when Agilities catches him.
Yeah.
The patient play that they had with this composition out of the side of Team Canada finally pays off for that OT capture, and that does give a significant amount of time for that B point. I believe it's 4 minutes.
It's 4 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so it takes Canada some time here, but
You talk about
you
DPS
talk about
stepping up
agilities,
agilities, Lepelos, flexing over to that Roadhog. You know, we've seen him play some Roadhog for Team Immortals / LA. Is it Valiant Immortals now? I don't really know, but solid play from him. We don't really see much Roadhog. We
yeah.
saw some pretty good Roadhog here.
And you talk about okay, so this was an interesting moment that I did want to talk about a little bit here, which is we talk about the importance of Soldier on the high ground, Jax, and Team Korea know it. They want to kill Surefire coming into Canada's attack. They use a primal rage, I believe, here, and they also bring in Sabalbi here, and they do not really kill Surefire until most of the rest of South Korea on point have been killed, and that was a huge. It's not an error to kill him to force him off, Jax, but it is not a good performance when it takes that long to do it and you lose a point in the meantime. That's basically what happened here, allowing Canada to finish with 32 seconds on the clock, Jax.
I mean, with how they struggled for first point, them capping B point with any time in the bank was a win for me or for Canada in my books, especially because South Korea goes on the attack levels. Team USA couldn't deal with it. Team France dealt with it pretty well, and now
Canada
it's
splitting
Canada's
the
turn
difference
to deal
a little
with
bit.
the Widowmaker Lepelos.
I mean, Surefire, okay, they managed to find an early shutdown, but really, Surefire, or sorry, Joymeister getting the early, getting picked early in the next fight, huge issue. As much as I liked Joe Meister's play overall, here was a moment that you would want to have back if you're him.
The casters, Mani and Doa, I think it was Mani pointed it out. Lepelos, the best thing they could have done was keep up the pressure on the front door. I know it's people might think of it as some pub play to guard the front door like that, but the first push, Korea, they had trouble getting in. Right, Flower couldn't get into position with the Widowmaker, couldn't get the sight lines. Once they got in, and Flower was breaking out the grapple hook, Lepelos, all over these rooftops. He started taking names and taking domes, and it was over for them. So the 8-point defense gone. Korea had 6 minutes in. South Korea had 6 minutes and 5 seconds to push the second point, Lepelos, and well, maybe didn't go so well.
It didn't go well for Canada. I mean, first hold's okay. You know, coming Surefire and Agilities pressuring up the upper levels pretty well here for Team Canada, but Korea
forced Flower off of Widowmaker, who went Soldier.
Yeah, Korea too strong, really. I mean,
Ryu Jae-hung on Zenyatta.
three kills.
It's DPS.
3 kills, man. In a turn of a fight off of that alone, Jax allows Korea to capture
DPS in
3 minutes and 30,
last week
31 seconds.
Show where we talked about the buff to Anna, and he was in his hotel getting ready for BlizzCon, and someone asked him about it. He says, yeah, okay, it's good that Anna's getting this damage, but Zen still has Discord, and it's too good. And here, Lepelos, he's showing Zen with Ryu Jae-hung in that DPS slot is too good. They finished with 3 minutes and 59 seconds left in the time bank, so
with that
significant difference compared to Team Canada. But Team Canada Lepelos, they have a minute. We already know what teams can do in a minute. Anything is possible in 1 minute. What does Team Canada do with their minute?
Well, Canada going to what worked for them on their first attack, which is a 3-1-2, pays off and largely pays off here off the start.
What meta is this? 3-1-2?
hey, what works
Is this
works.
December, January?
And you force Team Korea to play a different game if they haven't been playing this
Okay.
one, and it doesn't look like they've been playing against this one because here Team Canada leveraging it to great advantage. Rolfo though, a big portion of this, finding really good damage on his end, and they transfer their A-point capture off of this into a great B-point capture, and Jax Surefour coming absolutely alive. I talked about this, about the importance of Team Canada relying on particularly the DPS going off here. Surefour being that person when you need him to secure that B point capture in OT.
Lepelos, they had a minute and they got A and B. I told you anything can happen in a minute, Lepelos. But that being said,
I mean,
South Korea has a little more than a minute.
and they have Flower on the Widowmaker. Enough said.
Okay.
XQC caught on a jump in one location here.
It was bad.
The Widowmaker just destroying Canada, both A and B points here. They make it through easily with time.
No. 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Well, not 3 minutes and 5. Sorry, they had 3 minutes and 5 to push the second point.
Yeah, they ended up over a minute, so they
and
get
50.
a third attack. And
Oh boy.
no surprise here, Korea on their third attack. A bit messy, but able to take the 1/3 capture time on that A point because Canada barely showed any defense on that A point. Not surprised
I mean, for
about this
me,
one.
XQC dove deep to get Flower.
Yeah.
Sabobi was on respawn. He killed XQC at the entrance to the point. That gave Flower free room to do whatever he wanted. Lepelos. Sabobi then gets into the real fight, takes down Rolf on Zen, takes down Joe Meister on Mercy. So he took Winston, Zen, and Mercy in one attack.
Yeah,
There you go.
that
I don't know
that
what
will
to
do
say.
it basically right there.
Lepelos, he went 63-9 on eliminations over 5 rounds.
Absolutely.
5 rounds.
I don't know how you can pick. Like, listen, I know
Okay.
Toby's a great player and supports
Okay.
are typically underappreciated, but
I appreciate it.
you look
appreciate it.
I appreciate Toby, but you can't look at Sabolby and not say that this is MVP performance. Anyways, Jax, let's move to Junkertown, map 4 here. Canada taking us to Australia, I guess.
I don't even have to spend much time here, Lepelos. South Korea can't deal with 312.
Yeah, 312.
They
And
can't
not
deal
only
with the pirate ship.
they
Lepelos.
can't deal with the 312 pirate ship, man. Jax, I have to say, I really enjoyed watching this, but this also goes to show sort of what is talked about. I know we were talking about it, but Canada breaking out this strategy against Korea on a map that South Korea and their teams probably haven't played a lot of. So it's both a strategy and a map that they're probably not very well or very
We talk
well
about the
accustomed to.
greatest advantage that the Korean teams had, like in their own individual teams and now in their national team, is their preparation, Lepelos. You cannot tell me a team came into this World Cup preparing for 312. It's not possible. No one prepared for triple tank here, Lepelos. No one did. There's no reason to. You
I mean-
haven't seen it in months. I mean,
Who even runs it? Who even runs it? So
Canada runs it, Lepelos. Thinking outside of the box. Fantastic attack here. The Bastion check not met. The 312 check not met. Fantastic play. South Korea, Lepelos. They got to match it. They have to match this.
yeah, so South Korea. Well, South Korea do actually do well to make it into the final phase here, breaking out their own view of how to bring this. I mean, Jax, they're running Ryu Jae-hung on the Ana all the time. If you talk about off meta picks, you got to talk about this kind
Anna's
of
not meta. I mean,
And-
it's a comfort pick. I get it, but for me,
What
I
is
mean,
more
you look at
comfortable than Ryu Jae-hung hitting a sleep dart on Agility's breaking out of a Dragon Blade?
How many times? Lepelos, now it matters though. Previously, it wouldn't have mattered. It matters now. But then Lepelos' agility is at the very end of the defense. He does bring out the Dragon Blade. He gets good value off of the Dragon Blade to end out the round. Lepelos. Canada holds South Korea. Canada has taken a map off of South Korea now, Lepelos.
Yeah, even Team Canada taking a
This
map off
wasn't
of
even a
South Korea.
throw like South Korea did against France, Lepelos. This
No.
was them outplaying them.
Yeah, I
Well
mean,
done.
Canada definitely had an opportunity to take
Well done.
the first map. They had they took this one. They even had an opportunity to take Hanamura if they could just hold on their second
Lepelos,
defense.
how to deal with Widow?
They could have been here with Jax.
They had the same tools as the French Lepelos.
Jax.
XQC, a very solid tank. You have Surefour on Tracer. They could have dealt with Flower on Widowmaker. They couldn't. You
They
don't deal
couldn't.
with Widow. Widow kills you.
I
Sorry.
agree with you, and I'm just gonna say this. So if you look back at the first map, that when they lost Oasis, they had a chance to win
They
Oasis, in
did.
my opinion.
They did. The chance was there.
They
You're
had
not wrong,
they
Lepelos.
had a chance to win Hanamura.
They did not have a chance to win Kings Row though. They got beat
They
badly on
no,
Kings Row.
I know I skipped over that one, but I'm just trying to say, like, Hanamura, they fought back
Yeah.
to give themselves a chance
Yeah.
against South Korea. Jax,
Yeah.
if these things happen, which obviously didn't, but this could have been a 3-1 victory for Canada right here if they
The
didn't
thing for me,
drop the
Lepelos,
ball
I
on
don't know
those two
why.
other
For me,
maps.
on Hanamura, their anti-widow strat needs work. I see. The thing is, you saw what they did against. South, I say they. I mean, South Korea did against Team USA. For Team France, they planned for it. They forced him off of that. They made him go Genji. That's not Genji. Sorry, they made him go Bastion. Although I think he was throwing there, right? For
Yeah.
me, I don't. For me, I said before, the biggest thing I took from Canada, Lepelos, it just seemed as if they weren't ready. Like they
I
didn't
agree.
prepare.
Again, the
And
Kings Row pick is a particular sign of that. To agree
that's. I
with you.
mean, they don't have a coach. They don't have Coach Kai. Who's the Canadian Coach Kai Kai?
I honestly don't even know the coaching staff right now. What I do know,
Oh,
Jax, is they
Lepelos.
decide to bring South Korea to Numbani, which actually I don't feel is
Actually, no. South Korea went to Numbani.
or
They
sorry, yeah,
lost
South Korea
to
went to
Japan.
Numbani here. Sorry, yeah, that's
I'm
correct.
not surprised by this pick at all either.
Me either.
Um,
I know that they like this, and Jax, this one actually goes a little bit long here. Korea is starting off on the attack for Numbani here. Um, really great work off the start for a quick A. Continue to do
that
work.
was Canada. I mean, so the thing for me, Canada running the 3-1-2 still, I don't understand why they're so aggressive with 3-1-2. They
I
went like
think it's
Surefour
the
over
nature of their
aggroed and
players.
died a
Yeah.
way where no one could, Joe Meister couldn't reach him, and from there they get even more aggressive with triple tank. Why? Let them push into your triple tank, Lepelos. You're beefy. Don't send the slow beef after them.
I think this is the pressure and riding the emotion off the wind getting to them, Jax here. Like I don't mind them running the 3-1-2 here
I don't mind. I
because
mind the execution of it,
I agree
Lepelos.
with you. It's the execution error, and it's probably from lack of practice that it doesn't work out here.
Lepelos, I'm looking at the times I have in my notes. The defense
250
was rather poor.
256 for Korea when they make it through third.
Oh,
Canada going on attack here. Orisa Roadhog coming out for a quick attack on A point. Mangachu, Jax, we have to talk about this. We talk about Torb so much. Mangachu switching to Torbjorn and
Lepelos.
wait, sorry. Let me go back. We're talking about Canada's attack here. We talked about A point getting through A point, and now we're talking about Mangachu switching to Torbjorn. Have you ever seen Torbjorn attack?
First, I want to say this South Korean weakness of 3-1-2 is still here, Lepelos. They did not know how to deal with this. And this now, you see I talk about their aggression on defense. They were aggressive on offense here and went right at them. South Korea doesn't know how to deal with 3-1-2. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but again, they did not prepare for it, Lepelos, so they don't know. From there, I
How do you
don't even know.
prepare for this
I mean,
though, Jax?
after the 3-1-2 attack, and they switched to a 2-2-2 Lepelos, I tweeted at you live as it was happening because I didn't understand what your team was doing here. This Soldier Torbjorn Lepelos, then again, I guess I kind of answered it, right? I talked about Korea's greatest advantage being their preparation levels. You don't prepare for this. You
No,
don't know what to do with this.
I believe I tweeted back at you. It's losing in style, and I'll come back to that.
Levels.
But
Surefour capitalized on the attention the turret was drawing on the payload. Surefour on Soldier had so much space, had 2 tactical visors in the second phase. South Korea did not deal with this They dealt with the Torbjorn Lepelos. They did not deal with Surefour,
yeah,
who as a result of Torbjorn was free to do whatever he wanted.
it was beautiful play coming out. Oh, listen, you got to give it for Team Canada to break out a strategy like this and execute it against South Korea. Like, I don't think anybody would predict Team Canada to break out a strategy like this
They
at
had
all.
5 minutes and 5 seconds to push the distance.
Unfortunately, it takes a while in the third phase for Canada to break through. Zumba, great work here on Zarya.
Murdering on Zarya.
Just destroying Team Canada.
Yeah.
Just absolutely. Canada finally switched to a Ryan Zarya composition of their own. It works out. Canada pushed through. Sure for McCree doing work. 55 seconds on the clock, Jackson. Not anywhere close to that 256 that we're on that.
No, I have concerns here. But, I mean,
Korea.
then again, Lepelos, we've seen what teams can do with the minute. I don't have to say it again. We've already seen what happens when you give a team a minute. I mean, we look at what Rogue did with a minute on Hanamura against South Korea. Now Leplos, Canada has a minute on Numbani. South Korea has already shown they do not deal with 3-1-2 very well, Leplos. Again, they do not deal with 3-1-2 very well
Yeah,
on this
great
first point
work out of
defense.
Canada getting that capture. But Sabolby, again, why he's learning MVP, it's like positions like this. He comes through early in the second phase to stop Canada basically just around the corner or just before the corner.
I
The
mean, just
first corner,
before the
really.
corner, like part of my
Yeah.
problem with South Korea's play is it was too passive. Like you could almost see that they didn't know what to do and that they sat back. The first time on Nambani, they sat back because they're like, well, guys, they have 3 tanks. What do we do? And they let Canada push in and do whatever they wanted. Here, the same thing happened on the first point, but Sabobi, as you said, stepped up and says, "Okay, we're going on the offense here because we can't sit back." If they had sat back, Leplos, it quite possibly could have been another 6-pointer, another 3 points in 1 minute, like we saw previously.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is definitely snowball potential here, but I again, Sabolby shutting it down. Canada do make it through 8 point. They have a chance to win here. Jax, I want to say Mangachu, great pick and everything there on that attack, that first attack with that Torbjorn. This one, Jax, Bastion coming
Leplos is
out.
very questionable. Very high risk play here from Team Canada. Very high
Absolutely.
risk.
I don't agree with it because of the amount of time that they have, but they have to do something, I guess, is their feeling, but I feel like it's the
Leplos,
pressure.
Bastion's gonna hold for 3 minutes?
No, it's not, and that's my issue with it.
Oh man.
Zumba is coming alive. I want to say Zumba played his best series here in the grand finals.
He got woke.
Korea able to take Canada apart really quickly on 8 point.
Oh.
It's not a far distance to walk, and they just walk
Canada.
it. Yeah, pretty much. That's all. That's all Canada can really do is die there on that 8 point and throw themselves a little bit on that little bit of the roadway that Korea have to do, and that means Korea easily make that distance, earn another World Cup, Jax.
Back
Korea,
to back, Leplos. Leplos, Ryu
2017
Jae-hung says if they go back
winners.
next year, he's winning again.
I wouldn't be surprised, but
So
Jax,
he's saying he's gonna win a third time.
I don't think it's going to be as easy next year as it was.
Was this easy, Leplos?
No,
Team
this wasn't.
USA, Team USA pushed them.
Team USA pushed
Team
them.
USA. Listen, again, I'm not gonna keep picking on 150K. I really hope 150K uses this to learn and grow as a player. If I'm San Francisco Shock, this is what you want to have happen now.
Yeah,
Leplos,
it's not on your.
before it starts. I mean, I'm sorry. This is to go up on the biggest stage and get crushed, Leplos. The only thing is, help him rebound, help him, realize what happened here. As of right now, I can say from what I'm seeing from him, he's not taking the lesson that I
No.
hoped he would have. But I'm not gonna get into that.
Well,
But-
I sort of do. I want to mention it. He's given to go off of what Toasty's saying here. He has been giving his 150 cents on stream
Oh man.
to everyone, and he hasn't been dealing with it well, which is not what you want out of a professional player going into a professional league. But the flip side of it, the good side is hopefully if you're team management right now, you're like, we're seeing this now, and it's better that this is happening on the side of a
This
loss
is where your
for-
coaches earn their money, Leplos.
Yeah.
This right here, this
This is polishing the turd that is Sinatra attitude.
I so basically my overall impressions, Jake stepped up in a rather big way, Lepos. I
Yes.
feel he played very well and was carrying the DPS as best he could. Really, really impressed with what I saw out of Jake here. I enjoyed watching him play. See, I didn't know, like last time we saw Jake was in the World Cup qualifiers where the level of competition was not at this level. So here he is at this level against quite arguably Lepos, the best DPS player in the world.
Yeah.
And while he lost, right, Flower did beat him quite badly, especially on Pharaoh. He put forth a fantastic effort. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with the Outlaws down there in Houston.
Definitely can compete, though. Definitely can compete.
This was I enjoyed this tournament a lot. I had been falling out of love with Overwatch the last
week. I mean, two weeks.
Not just week levels. I mean, there's a period in September and October where,
yeah, there was just like a lot of nothing games sort of going on for a bit.
Because I have my own personal issues that I was dealing with, and
Yeah.
I would watch Overwatch, and I'm like, the middling play just got to me, and I'm watching for me. I've South Korea versus USA, it was just played at an exceptionally high level. And watching that, I'm saying to myself, this could be Overwatch League levels. If I can get game like that first week, if I can get Seoul versus Dallas at such a high level, if I can get these games every week, I'm hyped as hell for Overwatch League. I really am. And
Well, on the flip side, for not just USA fans, but those of us from Canada, like every single one of Canada's games were interesting. Like even their loss
Levels
to Korea.
3-2 Australia, 3-2 Sweden, 4-1 over South Korea. And I mean, so
Plus we forgot to mention Jack. So on the Torbjorn switch, the hammer kill of Mangachu on Zunba. Who gets a hammer kill on Zunba? Like I believe he's made it his Twitter header. You know the picture in
did he
behind.
really?
Yeah, I believe he did. I'll have to double check that now, but there was pictures at least on Reddit of that, which is like hilarious because like talk about like a unique moment for sure.
Yeah.
And the ball, like honestly, just the maybe not balls, but the attitude to go out and do that for Team Canada, even though they ended up losing the map.
But is Mangachu not signed for Overwatch League?
Mangachu not signed. I mean, he was up and down. Here's the thing, like I think he could perform, particularly when you look at like who has been signed in Overwatch League. I would rate him higher than some people, but maybe you look at some of his problems, which is he's generally been off meta characters
I mean, levels.
and inconsistent.
If I'm being honest, his Farrah Hanzo is pretty good.
Oh, I agree with you. He's a strong player. There are really good reasons to hire him. And there's reasons why he may not fit with your current mix of players. So
Right.
I'm not going to go into that. What we are going to say is get back to talking about how these games, all of these, like a lot of these series. Okay, we had what 8 games,
Was
and
it 8?
yeah,
Yeah.
in the quarterfinals, 2 out of the 4 were great, 2 were not so great. In the semifinals,
Yeah.
semifinals were one out of 2 was really good.
I mean, I think both are. I
Yeah,
think.
the France one was like
Win
up and
as
down.
you expected. Like I mean, France made it interesting. They tried. They were just literally outclassed by Team South Korea.
Yeah, the
Um,
grand finals I thought were interesting. The third place game was actually pretty interesting as well,
Yeah.
right? So you look at the numbers, and we're talking 5 out of 8 games being really, really good, high level, and interesting.
and I want to say
Overwatch.
one of those games is just unfortunate because I thought it was 3 players. Team China replaced 4 players levels, 4 out of 6.
Yeah,
A week before the tournament. Like
that's huge because like if they went in with their old team, like I think their old team probably would have won against France.
that would have been God. That would have been hell.
That would have been a
I
good
should have
series.
saw this back in August, Leplos.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to see it because of
Yeah.
Blizzard.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
makes
going to
me so
happen again.
mad.
It's going to happen
so
again.
mad.
But unfortunately, that's just how we're rolled out.
Biggest letdown for me. I'm just looking at the bracket right now. Team United Kingdom. I'm sorry, huge letdown.
Yeah.
That team just. Not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that because I picked them. It's just the quality of play out of Team UK was not very good.
And that's troubling when a lot of those players are trying to find spots, hopefully in other Overwatch leagues. Like they'll probably find contender spots if they want them.
I think
But-
who is it? Cruz, Valutaya, Christopher. I think they're planning. I guess we need to hear more about Contender Season 2. But for this World Cup, this was I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the casting. I got to see ZP and Hex cast for me USA versus South Korea, which is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Mani and Doa did a good job.
Jax, I
I'm-
want to point out as well. Not only did I get all but one of the games right in terms of my picks, I also called the casting picks as well. So, hitting 100% on that.
I was asking levels. I was like, are they gonna give ZP and Hex the Team USA match, or are they gonna get it's prime time? They want to put Mani and Doa in that slot, even though I prefer ZP and Hex over Mani and Doa. I like Uber. I don't like Uber and Mr. X. He's so hyped, and Mr. X is just. It's out of nowhere. It's like a weight that just pulls you down. And I'm not saying he's bad. It's just he doesn't work well with Uber. For me, he doesn't work well with Uber. Jason Kaplan works very well with Uber.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just some people that are combo better. Like, yeah, I agree with the Uber. I mean, the hype is there with him. That speaks to some people. Sometimes I do like Uber in the sense that he has some really great wordsmithing.
Insight. Yep,
and
and his
his
insight is
insights
good.
is quite too. Mr. X, obviously, I agree with him too, but I don't think they play off each other well. I
They
agree with
don't.
you,
I mean,
but
I don't like that. I mean,
it
sadly, I think
sucks
that's
for
what we're
Mr.
gonna. I
X
think for the
because he's
Overwatch League,
been
we're gonna get
struggling
money
to
in
find stuff.
Doha, and I think we're gonna get money in Doha and Uber and Mr. X, which I'm kind of sad about.
Uh,
But
we'll see.
hopefully, ZP and
There's a lot
Hex
of
get.
games to cast, so we'll see how many
It's two
people.
games a week, Lepelos. I'm wait, sorry. Each team plays twice a week,
Yeah,
so 12
that's a lot of
teams.
people. They'll probably have more casters. They should have more casters,
Wow.
but anyways, I don't know.
Are
Who
we done,
knows?
Lepelos? Is this the end of the show?
No, we're moving on to our main course of talking about. No, okay, well, guys, we're gonna go through the rundown of what else was going on. Don't worry, there's not too much
Lepelos, we're
here.
over 2
We are,
hours.
but
Oh,
you want to talk? I let you
this
talk.
is old
This
school
is how it
Overwatch
goes.
rundown here, where so we can't go to an. I think we've never gone over 2.5 Lepelos, so we got it. Let's move it along.
We're gonna talk first about the ending to the Asus Republic of Gamers tournament 2017, the GameXpo. Jax, last time Team Gigante, I believe, is participating.
I mean, Lepelos, Team Gigante get it. Linkshire going to Houston.
Yeah, or
Big Goose and Shaz going to Philly with Fraggy, if I'm right.
in
I
any
might be
case,
wrong.
this
If
is
I'm
their
right.
last time all together,
Yeah.
hoping to end on a bang. In Jax, it's not starting off well for them. Bonnie 2-1 ENC Esports here in the finals.
That was actually a very close match. I literally just watched it. Ints capped first point levels and met the distance, both in overtime. Had to fight for every inch, but they fought and they made it. So congrats, they took the first map. I mean
That's
that's
big
more
against
than
Gigante.
everybody
Gigante
expected.
has been like stomping everybody
Yeah.
in the whole tournament so far, but nothing changes from here on with that. Actually, Jax, Gigante 2-0 Nepal,
Uh-oh.
2-0 Lijiang Tower,
Uh-oh.
and
Hey, who picked these maps?
2-1 NC Sports for a
Okay.
quick 3-1 victory. At least winning in style, Jax.
Lepelos,
Having the last swan song or whatever you want to call
I
it.
kind of feel bad now, Lepelos. So you're telling me Rogue gone, NIP, RIP, Gigante. Now, Lepelos, these are two storied franchises
Yeah.
here in Overwatch.
Yeah,
E
it's sad to see
United,
them go.
gone, Lepelos. Cloud9, NA, gone, Lepelos. These teams made Overwatch. They're gone.
Yeah,
Feels bad.
it's definitely sucks to
bad,
see them go,
man.
but you know, where some teams have failed, other teams will appear. So we'll have to keep out what's going on in the
Okay.
contenders next year. Jackson, let's move over to South America, where we have
Oh,
none other than your favorite.
Lepelos. Oh.
That's right, everyone. I'm talking about Overwatch Campeonato Brasileiro.
Okay.
And Jax,
This is week 10 of 14. We're getting close to the playoffs at least.
2 weeks in a row now, Jax. We have a game that is no longer a 2-0. I mean, listen, all the wins here pretty expected. Brazil Gaming House 2 over Avance, 2-0, actually 6 over WS Esports. That is an upset for 6
Okay.
Esports. Getting the 2-0 over WS Esports here important because with a couple more wins, they might be able to take
They won't
over.
get them, but okay, Lepelos.
Yeah.
That's fine. It
W-
is a good win for them here, though.
WS Esports, though, in the bottom or in the 4th spot, last spot to make it through to playoffs. So every win is important for them at that point.
They see for them, it's big for them, Lepelos, for seeding purposes, because you don't want to finish 4th. Finish 4th means you fight Brazil Gaming House. You don't want to fight Brazil Gaming House.
Yeah, and if you talk about who's in
Okay.
5th, it's none other than Lions Blackjacks. They're trying to chase WS Esports and get that 4th spot, but here, Jax, it's a draw. 2 weeks in a row, a draw. But this time it's North Lions Black drawing against the 7th place team, last place team. In
That's a
Dogma
push on for
Esports.
Northern Lions Black.
And that's not what you want. Yeah, definitely
I
a
hate
poor
1-1
performance.
draws, but I said that last week, Lepelos. Still, week 10 out of 14, 4 to go, Lepelos.
We'll continue to report
Yeah.
on it. Let's move to discuss what happened in Australia and New Zealand, which is having the bi-monthly Brawl Season 1 Division.
I'm
1
very
going on.
concerned by these brackets here, Lepelos. These lot of forfeitures here in the Australian New Zealand region. Wow.
Are you suggesting that a lot of these teams are going down under?
Oh, Lepelos. I know it's been 2 hours, man, but my goodness, the puns. I mean, I'm looking
I'm
at
sorry.
Mastermind GC Lepelos. I'm concerned because they forfeited all their games this week.
I mean, they've won one of their forfeited games because the other
That's
team
because the other team
forfeited.
forfeited before they could.
Yeah, you can like
That's
it's
a
a race to the
thing.
boss. Wait, yeah. How many teams are now like not
I
the
don't know.
Project Sin and possibly Masterminds GC?
I'm
Masterminds
surprised by
Blues
this
is still
Mastermind GC. That
active.
was a pretty solid team,
They
and
were
for them to just start forfeiting games in the middle of this tournament
listen.
makes you wonder what I need Australian context now, Lipos.
Yeah,
Get the guys from Full Circle who handle OPC to come on and lay it out for us.
yeah. Obviously, that'd be great. They do some good casting over there. If you guys have never seen that, we'll try and highlight a game in the coming playoffs or grand finals for you guys to check out when
Is
we
this on Full
get there.
Circle?
But
I hope it is.
I believe it's
That
still
should.
full circle. Well,
Okay.
actually, no. Actually, this might be something else. But no.
The
Okay.
Full
Anyways,
Circle guys do. Yeah, this is on. Oh, this is on
yeah,
Oshi Overwatch.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a
So
new channel.
yeah. So we'll still pay attention when we get to the finals and let you guys know when that's happening. Here, though, Jax, if Masterminds GC is completely done and this is not just like injury or not being able to make a couple games, we're talking 3 out of the 8 teams being like forfeiting their spots. This is a tournament of 5 teams.
Look, only
That would
top
be
four make the playoffs, as far as I'm aware, man. I
one. So
think
that just means one team wouldn't, and right now that would be the other Masterminds team. So
not good for that
not
franchise. Then
not good for yeah, for those players. Jax, okay, let's the only other thing of note here is King's Gaming Club still sitting at a perfect 10-0.
okay.
Is the other thing I wanted to mention here, and Darksided uh, still doing one ahead of Atletico Co, who is one ahead of Silly Sports slash
I,
Masterminds
I do
GC.
want to point out though, Lepolos, Darkseid did in fact take a map off of King's Gaming Club on November 2nd. So they're making progress. And by I say making progress in that at least they're not getting swept anymore. They lost 2-1, but it's got to start somewhere. You start by taking a map, and then you start taking series, Lepolos. So we'll see going forward if Darkseid can keep it going.
Yeah, definitely. And Jax, I believe that's the end of the rundown right there. There.
Oh,
So short,
um,
short rundown. Unless you have anything.
no, I mean Lepolos, I'm concerned because I have a lack of things for next week.
Don't worry, guys. We have ways to talk and talk and
Do
talk.
we? I don't Lepolos.
We'll come up with something.
There
Don't
were a few
worry.
tournaments that did pop up. I mean, one of them was a 10,000. I'm like, where did this tournament come from? So perhaps we'll cover that. The following week, I know we get Overwatch Team Story Chapter 3 finals, but for this upcoming week,
It's gonna be
it's a
pretty
little
light.
light. I
If
don't
you
know
guys,
what we're gonna do.
I
I
will
don't
say
know.
this to our viewership and listeners. If you guys have anything you want us to cover ever, like something specific, either a specific event or a topic for one of these later weeks, go ahead and let us know. You can reach us on Twitter. I'm at Leplos. You're at Jax_Blake,
Yeah.
and
At
we're
OW Rundown.
yeah. All of those ways are good ways to contact us. If you put us up on Reddit somewhere, I mean, I'm Leplos on Reddit, so you can always message me on there if that's what you use. There are many ways to find us.
Including Twitch, Lepolos. We
Yeah,
broadcast live every Tuesday night around 9:15 p.m. Pacific. Twitch.tv/Lepolos. Also, just Google YouTube Lepolos. I'm pretty sure he'll be the #1 search result. So
lots of ways to reach out to us. Do let us know. Share us, guys, on your social media site as much as you guys want and feel comfortable with. We could use more people listening to us and getting involved in the conversation. Obviously, we're
getting ready
interested.
for the Overwatch League. We
Yeah,
still, I.
yeah. If
But
you guys
so
have any input
basically,
about what you guys want from us for that, that would also help. So, share us
breaking
around,
story.
everyone. World is full of love, and we have a love for Overwatch here. So, make sure you're passing us all along to people who might enjoy us.
The schedule from now until the end of I think there's 1 week in December where we have the preseason for Overwatch League. But
Yeah.
other than that, from now until January when Overwatch League starts, it's really, really light. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But this is episode 61, Lepolos Overwatch Rundown World Cup Edition, extended edition, back to our roots, over 2 hours. We used to go over 2 hours every week. Lepolos, we will for sure be under 90 minutes next week. I'm guaranteeing this. Thank you for listening. Episode 61. Be back next week, episode 62. I hope. Have a good night. or good day, or whatever time of the day it is that you're listening to this. I don't know. But people in all kind of time zones. But I think Levelos is playing the outro music right now, and I'm talking over it like I always do. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah, obviously you do, Jack.